live for the next 4 hours. I'm your host, Alex Jones, coming to you from deep in the heart of Texas, Austin, broadcasting worldwide. Wow. There is so much to go over today. There is a story that's now come out that I was actually told about years ago and other similar stories. And I asked why Trump wouldn't use it in the campaign. They just said that's not how he operates. But now after the campaign, we learn black homeless woman says Trump allowed her to live in Trump Tower rent-free for the last 8 years and even has room service deliver her food 3 times a day. This is when Trump caught the police throwing her out. She'd been squatting. Now, why is that so interesting? Because I remember years ago hearing these stories about Trump, but never in the news, from individuals. There's a bunch of them. I don't know if it's white guilt or something, but it does tend to be towards black people that almost all the stories are about African-Americans, use a politically correct term. But that dovetails with this poor lady that Obama didn't help. She even tried to go to the inauguration. She begged for help. Other people bought into the fact that it was Republican state house members that were in real estate that actually bought her a nice house, just gave her a house to prove, you know, the fact that they're not what Obama claims they are, these big racists. And he's out in the news giving interviews to Fareed Zakaria about how, you know, people in the South are racist. They're not in the North, which is the most twisted, bizarre statement ever. I'm going to say this. I personally have witnessed more systemic, open racism when I've been in the North than I've seen in the South. Now, I'm not bashing the North either. It's just that I've heard more open racism by everybody, kind of at each other's throats, than I've seen the South. Now, is the South more segregated? Certainly. I'm not defending stuff. It's just that it's such big, broad brushstrokes. But this is CNN. This is 8 years ago. Woman who pled to Obama is still struggling. Henrietta Hughes. She's like, we live in the car and we go to the library and try to educate our children, but we sure need a home. The welfare doesn't pay for it. And I've got a job, but then if I claim it, then I won't have enough to even live. Because that's how they want you, having to work and have welfare and then be homeless. He said, we're going to take care of you, man. We're going to take care of you. Didn't take care of her. You can bet your bottom dollar. If Donald Trump tells somebody he's going to take care of them, he does it. This isn't a Donald Trump love fest either. It's just the reality. He's working 18 hours a day. In fact, it's worse than that, or better, depending on how you look at it. He's up working off and on 20 hours a day. He does sleep 4 hours. That's confirmed. 4 hours. Now, it isn't 20 hours of pure work, because he stops and does stuff and eats and takes a few breaks here and there and, you know, takes an extra shower or whatever, like anybody would do who's working 20 hours. And sometimes he goes and plays golf. Back before he ran for office, hadn't played golf now in over a year and a half. But, I mean, think about that juxtaposed to how much Bill Clinton vacationed or George Herbert Walker Bush vacationed or W. Bush vacationed or any of these people. Or Obama, the king of it. It's just night and day. It's action versus talk. A little less talk, a little more action. That gets me the satisfaction, to quote the king. So we're going to play those clips coming up. Meanwhile, CNN spends election cycle calling Trump supporters racist, then gets hit with a class action racism suit. Yeah, not a lot of black faces or brown faces behind the scenes at CNN. So that's some of the news we're going to be covering there today. Now, before we go any further, let me just tell you, that's not even our top stories. That is not even our top stories. We have a Democratic congressman on Fox News to Tucker Carlson's face. Tucker is finally blooming, being left alone to be himself. That's why he used to have to play along at CNN, play along at Fox. Now you're seeing the real Tucker, as I've told people you would. It's very exciting. Ratings are exploding. It's amazing. Oh, a new Patriot show. Top ratings on Fox. The bimbos ratings are going down. Who wants to watch Skeletor in drag? He calls him a commie agent on his own show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we don't have any guests until the third hour today, so I intend to open the phones up later in this hour and right through the second hour. And then we have another great host, of course, hosting the fourth hour today. But we're going to have Max Kaiser, who's in town, back in studio with an interesting fellow I've been watching since I was like 10 years old on MTV. Adam Curry is an anti-New World Order guy. I know he has his own popular radio show that's seen resurgence in his popularity since the 80s and 90s. But I've seen this guy host everything from just the MTV News to Headbangers Ball. So Adam Curry's going to be in studio. He's a fellow Austinite to give his view on the world today. Now, I say this every show, and I'm always mad at the end of the broadcast because I never do it. On a good show, I might cover 100 news articles, usually 20 or 30. I've got to cover all this today. There's so much good news. There's so much serious news, so much dangerous news, so much ugly news. But overall, there's a theme of positive things happening and accelerated awakening. So I want to go over a lot of this today. At the bottom of the hour, remember the poor little black lady in Florida saying, I'm homeless, I have a job, but it doesn't pay for me to get a house, so I have welfare, and I'm living out of my car with my kids. Can you help me get a house? He says, oh, we're going to help you. We're going to help you all right. Never helped her. But a Republican state rep did and just bought her a $200,000 house just to show. And of course, it is conservatives that are 6 times more likely to actually give. Liberals just tell you how they give all day. That dovetails with a black homeless woman says Trump allowed her to live in Trump Tower rent-free for 8 years. I'd been told about this story and others that Trump acts like this big tough guy on TV and everything, and he is in business against what he sees as big bullies and other aggressive people that try to scam him. But Trump's actually a big softy. Gets tears in his eyes and is just constantly giving away large portions of his fortune directly to poor people. And folks try to get Trump to stop doing it for at least 20 years because word gets out in New York. Let's just say that. So this is why this was not used in the campaign. Trump's big soft side. Let me tell you something, folks. They've got his MO. They've got his psychological profile. That's why they're flipping out scared of him. He wants everybody to be prosperous. But he's so fair-minded that when Chuck Jones, that snot-nosed union head of the steelworkers in Indianapolis, when he only saved 1,080-something of the 1,400 jobs, when that guy couldn't save it and Obama could care less for Carrier, he bitched him out on CNN and said, you lied. You lost 300 jobs. And Trump hit back and said, you didn't even try to keep them. You're the reason everything's fleeing. You ingrate. The media's like, how hateful. That's how a man is supposed to. That's exactly how I would respond. You didn't even care to keep these jobs. Obama didn't lift a finger, made fun of me for a magic wand, and then you say I'm a liar. What the hell's your problem? It's like if you got spoiled kids and you go buy them something really nice and they gripe at you right after they take the tree out for the new bike out from under the Christmas tree or the train set. This isn't the train set I wanted. Well, sorry, they were out of the one you wanted. This one costs even more money. I mean, it is the entitlement makes me just so angry. And to sit there and watch how they take everything and twist it. And I guess I have kinship with Trump because if you're actually in the media or out on the tip of the spear in the arena, you experience the very same stuff collectively. But, you know, as a libertarian, as a conservative, as a constitutionalist, as a veteran, as a gun owner, you are part of that club, too, of being demonized and attacked. And I say, let's just own it like it's a Medal of Honor. Because these people are despicable, so that's coming up. Now, that's just 2 of the articles I have. There's hundreds of these things. They're unbelievable. Look at Uber. I read the terms and services about a year ago on it and uninstalled it on my little traveling surveillance system known as a smartphone because it said we may choose to switch it on and off and monitor where your location when we want. Before, it said when you activate the app, then we track your location. Now Uber has just flipped a switch with the Trojan horse and has announced everywhere you go, it tracks you 24 hours a day and logs where you're going. It's now turned out it's been used in divorce cases, you name it. They're also selling the data to other companies. So it's total data mining. They've opened up their own little private NSA, and that's why Uber should go away. I want competition, but they with the whole mafia system that Uber's become, and with folks like Rahm Emanuel's brother, are just absolutely gaming people up one side and down the other, and people should really not use Uber. It goes in and gets monopolies in cities to be the only open source type computer system that there can be that circumvents taxis. I say let it be a free-for-all, let the market decide it. And the market should say to Uber, I will take a regular taxi, or I will walk, or I will take a bus, or I will call a black car service before I will use Uber, because you are uber bad, Uber surveillance. Again, that's just one of the articles we have. Cash is no longer king. The phasing out of physical money has begun. Lost and found. Japan tags dementia sufferers with barcodes. Survey reveals Americans don't trust scientists on GMOs. China claims it needs more nuclear weapons to deal with Trump. This is the type of articles I've got. I haven't even begun here. Now, let's get to some of the good news here. Climate changists, that's their political group, or I guess religion, are throwing fits over Trump's EPA pick. Dan Lyman, INFOWARS.com. Scott Pruitt threatens future of global warming agenda. And he's the Attorney General of Oklahoma. He's about to be the new EPA chief. And he's come out, just like Senator Inhofe, and said it's a total fraud. There's always climate change. Why are we the only ones shutting off our power plants and ours are totally clean and China's and Mexico are totally dirty? This is bull, even if you believe that carbon dioxide is, killing the earth, when it actually is what plants breathe. So they call him a climate change denialist. First it was the earth was going to freeze. Then it was going to be global warming in the 90s and 2000s. Now it's just we're denying climate change. No, there's always been climate change. The earth generally was hotter. It's been in a cooling cycle, but there are subcycles within it. The sun is on an 11-year cycle, a 120-year cycle. The astrophysicists know this, but they sit there and talk to you like you're 2-year-olds and say the latest globalist witch hunt is on, as the New York Times declared incoming EPA head Scott Pruitt a climate change denialist. So if you say Obamacare isn't free and there are no death panels and no IRS penalties, even though there are, you are fake news. If you do not agree with Hillary, you're alt-right. They define reality because they said so. And if you are a climate change denialist, even though none of us deny that climate changes, they've now just written it so broad where, they can't ever be wrong. If it goes up, goes down, stays the same, doesn't matter. Tornadoes, storms, it's all your fault. They come out and say hurricanes are an all-time high. They're at an all-time recorded low the last 100 years. That's the Weather Channel. Doesn't matter. They just tell you, look at the hurricanes. I'm Leonardo DiCaprio. Look at me. I'm a child star. I go to rock concerts. I have rosy red cheeks. Listen to me. I'm a scientist. I mean, what is this? And so he's a denial of the New York Times, Infowars.com, and there are dozens of sites, not just mine, is bigger than the New York Times online. And their paper edition is a small part of them. So Infowars is bigger than the New York Times. But the only way that they're a little bit bigger than Infowars in reality is it's still the talking point for the entire mainstream media. But as standalone, their talking point memo that is the New York Times, Infowars is bigger online according to Quantcast and all the major services. It's a total delusion. But still conservatives go, oh my gosh, they're attacking me in the New York Times. Alex, how you taking it? You're getting attacked on Comedy Central, CNN, HBO, every channel. Every time I turn the TV on, family calls me and says, every time we turn the TV on, it's you. We turn the radio on, it's you. And they're saying things that aren't true. How you taking it? And I said, really good. I've been celebrating with some porterhouse steaks. I don't normally treat myself to a porterhouse, and then go home and pass out from it. No alcohol needed. Oh yeah, I'll take a Lyft or a car, not because I'm drinking, but because I'm gonna eat so much red meat, I'm gonna almost pass out, driving. And I've just been having to have porterhouses at once a week now, just in celebration. I don't do the champagne anymore, so I just do the porterhouse. I normally would just have like a bone-in ribeye or something. I've been celebrating with porterhouses lately, and cheese gratin potatoes. And I mean, used to it was a filet mignon, you know, when I celebrated, you know, to try to not gain any weight here. But I'm just sorry, celebrations of this level have to happen. This is a defunct, degenerate, discredited group, and they're lying about me and twisting stuff and dissembling. Thank God they have already all lost their credibility, and this just shows we're so successful, they know they can't keep the public from us now, so they want to psychologically inoculate people to never believe what we're saying or to go look at what we're saying. But I'm showing you what they say. I'm going to show Obama lying to a black lady, saying he's going to get her a house, and then I'm going to show you Donald Trump delivering and then never telling anyone. The complete polar opposite. I'm going to show you truth that's incontrovertible, and that's what they can't stand. I'm going to show you Michael Moore when we come back with 6 bodyguards. But he says you can't have a gun, and he implies Trump's going to be killed straight ahead. And then Hillary and Brian Williams, of all people, take to the road in a crusade against fake news. That's funny. Coming up, we'll look at the Donald Trump nobody knows about, the one that he hides because he wants to act like a tough guy all the time. But there's always balance in somebody that is hard-nosed and strong, who's not evil. They'll also have a big sweet side to them. That's coming up. But we've got people out there like Hillary Clinton, who's now giving speeches all over the country. We're going to play it here in a moment, saying that we should ban fake news and ban the alt-right. And Brian Williams goes on TV, who was caught in 20-something major lies once they started investigating the fact that he said that he was shot down by a rocket-propelled grenade, or RPG, over Iraq in a helicopter. Shot down by an RPG. Then he was 2 hours behind a helicopter that was shot down, and then he wasn't even behind a helicopter that was shot down. But this is what he sits around and tells people. Hillary does the same thing. We really should take the two of them and combine them together in a little video. I was shot down by a rocket-propelled grenade, and show Hillary, I was in Bosnia under sniper fire, and then it shows her getting off the plane. It's not true. And then cut to them talking about fake news. That's a promo we're going to cut today for the nightly news. But first, let's go to Michael Moore. If this isn't a threat, I don't know what is. He comes out and he says, you know, something could happen to Trump in the next, 41 days? Let me check my calendar here. 41 days. Trust my memory, but verify. 41 days until 45 actually gets in. And his lordship, the star of Return of the Jedi, Jabba, Michael Moore Huttus, Hypocritus Maximus, says something crazy could happen to stop Trump becoming president. This is the same guy that predicted he would actually win because he knew the polls were fake and he knew the inside baseball. So let's go ahead and play his lordship.
Fine. I made that prediction in back in the summer.
You called it.
So I'd like to make another one tonight.
We're very excited.
And get your moan on, audience.
They're practice. Yeah.
He's not president of the United States yet.
Yeah.
He's not president, right? He's not president till noon on January 20th of 2017. That is, what are we? This is Wednesday night?
Yeah.
So that's more than 6 weeks away. Would you not agree, regardless what side of the political fence you're on, this has been the craziest election year.
It certainly has.
Nothing anyone has predicted has happened.
Yeah.
The opposite has happened.
Yes.
So is it possible, just possible, that in these next 6 weeks, something else might happen?
Yeah.
Something crazy, something we're not expecting.
Okay, so he says that no one predicted things accurately. No, I predicted them exactly accurately. And so did Ann Coulter. And so did Matt Drudge. And so did Jesse James. And so did Roger Stone. And so did a lot of other people. See, that's why you call us the fake news, because we're way more accurate than you because we're not beholden to anybody except our audience. And they want the truth. We want the truth. We want freedom. We want low taxes. We want to be able to live our lives as we see fit, practice our religion, not practice it. We're Americans. Stop calling us racist. Stop trying to create a racial divide. But we've seen the New York Times, Newsweek, Time Magazine, the LA Times, so many publications, I can't remember them all. I know all those did it, saying, man, somebody needs to kill Trump. Somebody needs to put a bullet in him. There have been Hollywood producers that go out and say, I will pay for someone to kill him. I'm serious. Here's my, here's my Facebook address. I'm ready to finance it. I got to be careful even saying that. The mainstream media is so deceptive now, folks. They might even take what I just said and play it and say I said it. That's the level of deception. And then they're going to wonder if something happens to Trump or Trump supporters who are being killed and beaten and burned out of their houses all over the country. And then they sit there and go, Alex Jones said a pizzeria had a torture dungeon under it and they were killing kids at Comet Ping Pong. I never said any such thing, and my reporters didn't. But see, that's how they straw man to divert off all the other Podesta emails. And it's why people don't believe you. Not even the brightest bulbs believe you anymore. You had a 6% trust rate in a big national study by AP that of their own readers that said, we don't trust you. 6%. That was before the election. Is it possible to be in negative numbers? I mean, you've got a few cult members following you. When we come back, we're going to play Hillary and Brian Williams. This is amazing. This is gold. By the way, I've been so busy battling the globalists that I can't even keep track of all the attacks. But let me just tell you, the attacks that INFOWARS.com and yours truly and my entire crew are under are, let's not exaggerate, 10 times any previous record. It seemed to hit a crescendo the last 2 days. It's gone down a little bit, which I think is terrible. I hope they actually intensify the attacks because it only drives their audience to us. And they know that, but they're so desperate to discredit us that they just can't help it. But we've got big news on the censorship front that I'm going to get to that just broke at InfoWars.com, DrudgeReport.com, linked to an article yesterday where Facebook was censoring links to our videos and articles. And we had screenshots of them officially doing it. Now Reddit has made us verboten. Anything with Alex Jones or InfoWars.com or my name is banned. And that was big national news when they banned Pizzagate. But now the EU came out on Monday and they said you have 24 hours, Reddit, Google, Facebook, Twitter, and over 100 other big tech companies that they listed to block InfoWars.com, Breitbart, and Drudge, and others. And, when Breitbart gets blocked, we do stories every day. When they get kicked off of things like Apple with their app, or they get blocked, or BMW or Kellogg's comes out and boycotts them with advertising, we're like, hey, stand for Breitbart. And then Drudge links to them, too, and supports them. And then I'm not seeing reciprocal love from Breitbart, but I'm just going to keep defending Breitbart. I like Breitbart. I like Bannon. He doesn't really run it now. I know that. He's too busy running the country with Trump. But the point is, we're all in this together. See, if they would have arrested and put Michael Moore in prison for his political film Fahrenheit 9/11, I would be standing up for his release. But when Dinesh D'Souza gets thrown in prison, the Young Turks and Michael Moore basically applaud it and call him a criminal and laugh at him. This is crazy. I mean, people I don't like, I don't want to be put in prison for their speech because, duh, it'll happen to me next. So, not griping at Breitbart. Breitbart's had some nice articles about us and supported us some, and that's fine. And it isn't that I need their traffic. I don't care about the traffic. I hope they're 10 times bigger than us, okay? I want to defeat the New World Order. I'm under attack worse than Breitbart, okay? We're the front line. They're demonizing us everywhere and starting to censor us all over the place, and it's being done by stealth so that there's not any noise. Nobody knows where we go. We just kind of blip off the radar screen. That's how authoritarianism operates, okay? So Buckley's technical on Reddit, loves Reddit. He's a big Redditor. I like Reddit, too. I'm kind of a moron when it comes to tech stuff and all the different platforms. I just like to read the stuff. I don't understand all the little idiosyncratic stuff that goes on with it, but it's just wild to know no InfoWars links, no Prison Planet links. They just make the links invisible, just like their censorship's invisible. You just, oh, where'd Alex go? Oh, Alex, who's he? That's a conspiracy theory. Don't say that exists. That's fake news. So this is a big deal. And as I've said, I spent $250,000, which sounds like a lot of money. It's not on the Rush Limbaugh show, to buy a month of advertising when there was a boycott against him. Now two things happened, because there's kind of a graph here. People were paying at that time half as much as they were previously for Limbaugh. He was in the middle of a giant controversy. He had record ratings. This was like 6 years ago. They were trying to kick him off the air. So the price of the advertising had gone down, but the ratings had gone up. So I'm an entrepreneur. I want to make money to fund our operation and take care of my family. So ratings are up. Cost is down. I spent $250,000 on the Rush Limbaugh show and made a whole point of doing it. And then I got Ted Anderson to spend with his gold company $1 million. That's $1,250,050 or $1,250,000. And some of my listeners didn't get it. They go, "You've sold out. He's an establishment right-winger. What are you doing on there?" I said, do you care if I'm advertising the truth about the New World Order and about globalism and promoting films that expose it? Aren't you glad? Oh, I see your point. We're going to change Rush Limbaugh. We're going to change Sean Hannity. We're going to change Tucker Carlson. We're going to make it safe for them to say what they really think, because I happen to know behind the scenes, they know everything we're talking about's accurate.
Right, exactly. And that's where, where do missionaries go? They go where the heathens are, right? I mean, we can sit here inside of our own bubble all day long and talk to each other and encourage each other, but we need to get out inside the world and go where everybody else is and sort of open them up to the ideas that we discuss here. And so when Alex is talking about how Reddit has censored us, it's really sort of a sneaky, nefarious thing, because what they've done is they've shadow banned any InfoWars links or any associations to Alex.
And it was the Reddit community that pointed this out to us.
Exactly. And what that means is that, yes, you can go into friendly subreddits such as the Donald and the InfoWars subreddit, and you can post InfoWars links, but what happens is the bots go in and they downvote them, boom, 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 which is against the terms of service there. And then there's also these CTR people, the correct the record people that Hillary Clinton has going into those subs and brigading them, which means downvoting them more, boom, 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 down. And then secondarily, what happens is, and the shadow banning is that it keeps those links inside of those subreddits, so they never have the opportunity to go out of the subreddit and get the exposure that any other link across Reddit would get. And so millions of people would be able to see them, as opposed to the hundreds of thousands in the Donald or the users.
And the reason they do this is, in a free market of ideas, we will be number one. We're already number one. And I'm not bragging, listeners. InfoWars, if you add all of our platforms, everything we do, just our platforms, not the other people that we allow to copy our stuff. We need to do a true audit and really try to give people a more accurate number. It's much bigger. 40+ million is our new baseline. Okay, we go above that. Our top peak ever is it was like 84+ million just on our platforms, AM, FM, shortwave, internet, YouTube, videos, Reddit, all of it, Facebook videos, all of it. This is views, not impressions, not reach, not all those, not hits, but views and listens. Actual real people listening, 85 million. Now,
right, and
that's why they're in panic mode, folks. So 40 million people a week. That's the whole audience of NPR. We're now as big as NPR, that gets $400+ million from the government every year of your taxpayer money, and then hundreds of millions of Rockefeller money and all the rest of it. For a fraction of that, We are annihilating them, and they do not know what to do, and we're growing, and they're declining. So their answer is just disappear us. Go ahead.
Right. And, you know, just to add to that is we actually did some metrics testing for the last month, and we came up with really solid numbers, not blown up numbers to try to get advertisers to sell. We were really looking at it to analyze it for ourselves.
Because a certain person asked for it?
Yeah, and we came up with, in the last 30 days, which does include the election cycle, we reached around 380 million people. 380 million individual views, clicks on the website, etc. I mean, that is a massive, massive number. And that also goes back into talking about Reddit. You know, the subreddit of the Donald, which is the acolytes of Donald Trump, which have been in there. They've been fighting. They've been talking. It's a wonderful subreddit. I really suggest anybody check it out.
Yeah, they've taken Reddit over with free speech and being funny and being interesting. Exactly. And now they're slowly being strangled by Reddit.
Exactly. So usually the posts that go on in there get hundreds of thousands of upvotes, which means that everybody is supporting it and pushing it up. And they used to dominate what's called the front page of Reddit, where anybody that goes onto Reddit gets to see that. And what they've done is they've clamped down, and they've created these new rules that only apply to people that support Donald Trump, that crushes down the exposure that they can get.
And by the way, I have an idea. I know how to counter them. And I had this idea about 10 years ago on YouTube, and people did it for a while, and it really worked. Just like we had Google bombs that worked for 2 years, and they changed the algorithm. We have to keep testing. I think we should start having some people with satire be really stupid and silly and start a Reddit that's the anti-Trump, anti-InfoWars, but only be in there being sarcastic and just like, yeah, it's horrible that he wants to cut taxes and brought all these jobs back, and just make it the most sickening satire.
That's pretty hilarious.
I totally agree with Obama. It was really hard being a community organizer, getting all those scholarships, and then being run for state senate, U.S. Senate, and just 6 years later being president. Yeah, he's got a lot of real-world experience, unlike that guy that works 20 hours a day and has hundreds of thousands of employees and does all this stuff.
I don't know, Alex. All that would be fake news like CNN and ABC and MSNBC.
No, I'm being sarcastic.
I know. Copy their stuff and just throw it on there. That's the irony. Now we're just looping around in this weird recursive psychological loop. You know, the bottom line is that right now there are very subtle attacks on our freedoms, our freedom of speech, us being able to go.
I wouldn't call them subtle. I'd call them stealth. They're giant. The EU coming out saying to all these platforms, ban InfoWars, ban Drudge. I mean, they listed us, the frickin' unaccountable, dictatorial EU superstate that's announced it's going to roll troops into France and Germany and other countries if they try to leave the euro.
Exactly.
I mean, this is incredible.
But here's the heartening thing. This is the beautiful thing. And I don't remember exactly who said this quote, and I'm going to misquote it. But, you know, first they laugh at you, then they ridicule you, then they fight you, and then you win. Is that how it goes?
Yeah, there's different variants, but it's basically first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they attack you, then you win.
And where are we right now? They're attacking us, right? That's where we are. I mean, we already won. Donald Trump, he won the election twice. He won it once, and then they did a recount, and then he got more votes. So he won the election twice, and then now they're fighting us as hard as they can, and we're about to win because people are waking up all over the world.
Oh, I agree. They're desperately trying to restrict us. Thank you, Buckley. And by the way, I had this idea on Monday. They launched it on Tuesday or Wednesday, and I said it's only going to be up for a few days. It ends in a couple hours. I want to get 100,000 signatures. We're close to that. Infowars.com. When you go there, it's a pop-up on the front page, but only the first time you visit it each day. It isn't a recurring pop-up. And you sign on the petition, and then we will send it to Donald Trump, president-elect. We'll send it to Congress and others. And if you click another button on there, we'll also send you free speech updates and special alerts, because I'm getting ready to launch a major coalition and major movement and a major website to defend free speech, because we're going to have to do it. So Infowars.com to find that. You can also sign up for our free newsletter to get daily news updates at Infowars.com/newsletter. In fact, let's put a link to this petition on the newsletter. And I know said only run it for 3 days. Let's run it for 3 more. Let's start the clock again and run it through Monday so people can sign on to this at Infowars.com/newsletter. There's the newsletter to get our news and videos and promo codes and coupon codes for the store. That's one reason to sign up, Infowars.com/newsletter. But on there, we'll also put a link to the petition page with this petition. We're going to add that link to Infowars.com/newsletter in case you've got pop-up blockers and you're not able to find the petition. So that's, again, at INFOWARS.com/newsletter. Okay, I got a long way to go in a short time to get there. I kind of segued off into that. The article's up on INFOWARS.com. Reddit shadow bans INFOWARS as fake news war accelerates. Censorship purge of dissenting opinion knows no bounds. And Paul also links in this article to the real fake news that is the mainstream media that's now telling us that we are the fake news and then calling for us to be banned. So that's up on INFOWARS.com. This is an InfoWar. Please get it out to everybody you know. Now, I'm going to get to Hillary and Brian Williams and others here in a moment. I mean, these are people that claim that they were in combat. I think you're a total idiot. But before I do that, I want to briefly ask you all for your continued support. DNA Force is our flagship super product. It is the best overall antioxidant formula out there. It's beyond that. It cleans out your cells, your mitochondrial systems, your engines. It has patented BioPQQ. A lot of fake BioPQQ out there, folks. This is the real BioPQQ, the only one that is from an organic form that the Japanese have patented, but it's produced right here in the U.S. by Mitsubishi America. That one ingredient is 40-something bucks of product in each bottle. That's why it's $100 when it's discounted at 25%. Stuff they sell at major medical facilities is $300 to $500 to $600, and the formulas aren't even as strong, okay? That's, in fact, my dad pretty much designed this with Dr. Group, and he's a chemist and run hundreds of medical facilities. I mean, he's worked on taking things to the drug process and having them approved. So that's why he said, look, by law, we can actually put something out as a supplement that is far beyond that. And it's got hundreds and hundreds of 5-star reviews, gives me incredible energy, weight loss, you name it. So that's InfoWarsLife.com, 25% off DNA Force. And we have to always sell out by year end or we get hit with, inventory taxes. So it's going to sell out in the next few days. DNA Force, InfoWarsLife.com. Now, we got some products that are $9.95 at InfoWarsLife.com as well. But that's $102, normally $130-something, so it's 20% off, 25% off right now. We also have revolutionary new outdoor survival gear now available at InfoWarsStore.com. The next generation of super high-quality outdoor survival gear is now live at the store, InfoWarsStore.com. We just go out and find the very best sellers, the highest rated stuff, buy a bunch of it, discount it. You shop with the good guys. It funds our operation. It's a win-win. So we have this for the lowest prices out there. You've already seen the highest rated solar generators, rechargeable battery packs, and storable food on the InfoWars store at InfoWarsStore.com for exclusively low prices. Now we have partnered with leading manufacturer of solar tents, sleeping bags, and revolutionary new hydration packs that are the very best out there without breaking the bank. The innovative new hydration packs available at InfoWarsStore.com allow you to connect with your own water bottle or other drink instead of using a water bladder that could be contaminated when you put different types of liquids in it, say like iced tea or Gatorade or whatever it is you want. Water bladders are breeding grounds for bacteria that can easily become toxic and make you sick. See the full catalog of survival tents, sleeping bags, and revolutionary new hydration packs for yourself at InfoWarsStore.com, and a lot of other great items have been added as well. And we're under attack. We need your support now more than ever. And it's about to sell out. It's only in a couple sizes. The red shirt, Trump is my president, on the front, Infowars.com, legalize freedom, a Ron Paul slogan on the back. We also have the new Hillary for President 2017, but George Soros needs to be deported, and he is shown as a goblin. The all-new Brain Force Plus is now back in stock, 20% more in each bottle, and it's a stronger formula per powdered caplet. They are horse pills, folks, but you want a nootropic, you want a natural boost, this is it. InfoWarsStore.com or 888-253-3139. Okay, I'm done plugging. Thank you all for your support. It makes great Christmas gifts. You can also put a note, so when it's sent with a receipt, and send it to friends and family, maybe X2, a book, a film, whatever it is, the gift of life, and it supports our broadcast because you can have it delivered right to whoever you want as a Christmas gift. Just put a note at checkout there in the comment, and that'll be printed off and put with it. InfoWarsStore.com. You make the InfoWar possible. You are the InfoWar. Hillary Clinton straight ahead. As I said, I'd already would have gotten to this news about Trump and his penchant for secretly helping poor people. with free cars, houses, jobs, food, predominantly African Americans. I hate to use politically correct terms, but then whatever. I just want everybody to live in peace and be happy. That's how political correctness starts. It starts with something that sounds simple and sounds reasonable, but then they change the word you're supposed to use. And it's all about the government and the universities and the mainstream media telling you how you can talk and what you can say and how you can live. That's called being in a cult. And speaking of a cult, Hillary Clinton, I'm going to play this clip first, has crawled out from under that proverbial rock. Then we'll play Brian Williams. And she's warned the world of fake news. That's just amazing, isn't it? This is the woman caught rigging the debates. I mean, we knew it was 2 against 1 and 3 against 1 of the debates, but it came out, it was rigged. And it came out in the Democratic debates, it was rigged, and they were getting the questions beforehand. That they were coordinating everything from Comedy Central to CNN. Here she comes to save the day. Crooked Hillary speaks out against fake news. There's no need to fear. Anti-corruption Hillary Clinton is here. And Joe Scarborough, when there's not dead interns found in his office, he's battling fake news. Thank goodness. And he sits there next to Mika Brzezinski, whose father's a famous war criminal that brags he helped fund Pol Pot in his own book. But see, the general public doesn't know what monsters they're looking at. I'm not saying Scarborough's a bad person. He just wants to get rid of his competition as free speech. That's not bad. Wanting to shut us up, you know, wanting to stick a rag in our mouth and then tie us up politically. Nothing wrong with gagging somebody. Things usually get a lot better after that point, don't they? The mainstream media drives around in its little ice cream truck going, we got puppies, kittens, free chocolate, candy. And we're all like out in the front yard like parents, don't get in the van, kids. They're like, don't listen to that guy. He's fake news. We were against the Iraq war. We told you Trump was going to win. We're just right basically about everything. Told you Obamacare was a scam, but it doesn't matter because they say we're bad. Here is Her Highness, I'm sorry, who's announced, Kit Daniels, InfoWars.com, Hillary ignites Soros-funded purple revolution against Trump. Oh, they're not giving up. They almost had America dead in the water. They almost had America strangled. They almost had it over. They had their foot on our neck, and they're not going to stop. Harry Reid and Schumer and her all laughing. Let's go to her lordship. Here it is.
The epidemic of malicious fake news and false propaganda that flooded social media over the past year, it's now clear that so-called fake news can have real-world consequences.
Yeah, you lost the election.
This isn't about politics or partisanship. Lives are at risk. Lives of ordinary people just trying to go about their days, to do their jobs, contribute to their communities. It's a danger that must be addressed, and addressed quickly. Bipartisan legislation is making its way through Congress to boost the government's response to foreign propaganda, and Silicon Valley is starting to grapple with the challenge and threat of fake news. It's imperative that leaders in both the private sector and the public sector step up to protect our democracy and innocent lives.
Oh, really? The Washington Post had to retract that Russian agents were running things. You want to shut down your competition. You want to end free speech. But they're hiding it in plain view. What monsters? She's the female Brian Williams. They're having to come out, take the gloves off from the EU to the Democratic Party here in the U.S. and say, shut off Alex Jones, shut off Drudge, shut off Breitbart. If they can shut us up, they can shut everybody up. Hillary, I'm not trying to shut off your free speech, you evil witch. One thing Scarborough got right is he said today that Hillary didn't lose because of fake news. She lost because of Hillary. So as bad as Scarborough is, he's a lot better than Hillary, even when I'm going off on him. But At the same event yesterday where Hillary said we got to go after fake news, afterwards her supporters, like cult members, like Kim Jong-un had died in North Korea, were like, they lied about you. They said you stole the money from the foundation, which they admit you did, and they said all of it. You know, it isn't the Podesta emails, all the weird sex stuff. You guys focused on ping pong pizza, Comet Pizza to distract everybody. Sure, we covered the news coverage of it. I mean, you people are a joke. Hillary, everybody sees right through you. Get used to it. So here's the end of her speech where the private sector, government, we have to work together to shut off the fake news. And it's happening.
Bipartisan legislation is making its way through Congress to boost the government's response to foreign propaganda, and Silicon Valley is starting to grapple with the challenge and threat of fake news. It's imperative that leaders in both the private sector and the public sector step up to protect our democracy and innocent lives.
It's like crying monkeys. It's like a war. Can we play that again? She's like a war-mongering demon. Can we cut this in with the North Korea stuff later? I want to get all her supporters the night of the election, after, and then ongoing, crying with loops of when Kim Jong-un died. Now, here's Brian Williams. This is the same woman who said, I was under sniper fire in the air, and I was under sniper fire on the ground. We had to run into the building when I landed in Bosnia-Herzegovina. Then it cuts to her, sunny day, kids giving her flowers, Hillary waddling around. She is Brian Williams. But hey, it gets better. You don't need to have the Brian Williams connection to fake news. He'll come out and do it himself. The spokesman now against fake news, Brian Williams.
And lately, there's been a lot of coverage in the real news about the growing and booming business of creating fake news. Our own Jacob Soboroff just spoke exclusively to the creator of one of the most widely shared fake news stories in the lead up to election days, with us from our LA bureau tonight. Hey, Jacob.
Hey, Brian, pretty extraordinary. You know, after this weekend shooting at this D.C. pizzeria, it has become terrifyingly clear that fake news has such real consequences. According to BuzzFeed and an analysis that they did in the 3 months before the 2016 presidential election, articles with fake news from fake sources were shared at a higher rate than real news from us, the so-called mainstream media. And on Facebook, Brian, it was hard to...
You know, it was BuzzFeed that said Hillary had like a 97% chance of winning. The New York Times said 96. They had a special secret algorithm. So fake news announced that fake news increased. They show some graph. Oh, we're so concerned about fake news. Thank God we've got Brian Williams to tell us all about it. That's how dumb they think you are. This is their hoax. You wonder how they try to come back from total collapse? This is it. It's laughable. And now they think they're going to censor us. It'll just make us that much hotter. We are going to clean your clock. By the way, we have the president. It really is astounding. If you just joined us, I just played Brian Williams. Now suddenly back on NBC News. The guy that got caught publishing 20-something fake stories, lying to the public once he got investigated about being shot down by a RPG rocket-propelled grenade in Iraq. And now he's on a crusade, that's the headline, against fake and false reporting. I mean, could it be any more arrogant? These people are so arrogant. He thinks because he looks like a serial killer, which he thinks is handsome, and he's wearing a nice tie and a $3,000 suit, and has practiced a confident smile, that he then can shovel manure down our throats. And then Hillary, a known fake news purveyor, is running around. And then you've got Colbert, who his whole career, for 15 years, he's been on Comedy Central, first as a reporter, then his own show, posing. Now he's on one of the nightly networks, on broadcast TV, posing as a fake conservative, as a straw man to discredit conservatives, putting out fake news and making it a joke because it's entertainment. You couldn't get away with that on normal TV until now. And so he's really just on Comedy Central doing what Anderson Cooper does on CNN, another fake reporter. Attacking yours truly for 15 minutes in one piece, misrepresenting what we say, misrepresenting what we do, preying on his audience. Now use that word because they're hoping you don't look into it. They're hoping you don't know. And now Reddit will not let you share links of Infowars.com or Alex Jones. They've shadow banned it. They don't let it get promoted. It automatically has bots that violates their terms of service. They promise it's whatever you think's important goes to the top. You're the community. Well, I'm not allowed to win. I've won too many Indy 500s. It's like rollerball. They come and tell them you've won too many games. You got to lose. You got to retire. You got to stop. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. You're not allowed to win. No, 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 no. And no matter how you stack the deck, we're going to kick your ass up and down the street because we don't have teleprompters. I really care about prosperity. I really care about people. It makes me sick seeing people poor and dumbed down. Makes me feel weak. Makes me feel like a loser. Ruins the enjoyment in my life. Let me tell you something. People like us, and that's most of us are like that. Our problem is we don't want to be in charge. We don't want to be involved. We just want to live our lives, be successful, have our friends. We're so fulfilled, we're like, you know, I don't want to run your life. But the great analogy is the homeowners association. When I was a kid, there was this obnoxious homeowners association in this golf course community we lived in that was harassing people, not letting people make changes on their houses that were reasonable, a bunch of weird old people that were on power trips. And they were really rude to my dad and got in his face. So my dad went and knocked on over 600 doors. It was a big neighborhood. Big, I mean, back then, that's a small golf community today. And he got elected president, fired all those people, put new people in and resigned in 1 month. And they always think they're invincible, these homeowners associations. I've run into one as of late. They'll come and cuss at you in your face, and they think it's just completely normal. I'm like, oh, I'm calling the cops, by the way, old man. Nothing that he's bad that it's an old man. It's just like they just think they're God in this position. And imagine, it goes from homeowners association right up to the top. You're going to call the police because I'm in your property yelling and screaming because yo, yeah, I'm calling them right now. You don't do that. You want to threaten me physically? Watch what happens next. You see how this works? But I'm an official. I'm an authority. Yeah, and you're about to run in to my political fist, bro. Just like the New World Order thinks they're invincible. Hillary, they've got the power. Air Force One, they've been in charge for decades. It's their country. You're not going to have some populist that's going to reverse 60 years of globalism. No, no. Oh, wait. We're not going to take the will of the people. Why, votes have never counted in primaries. Really, the law says they do. Well, we're the sovereign party. Remember George Will? It all blew up in their face, didn't it? And now where's George Will? He's more hated now by conservatives than ever. Another fake conservative like Glenn Beck stuck in there to deceive everybody. We're done. We're on the war path. Figured it out yet? We expect to draw enemy fire. We expect to be demonized and lied about. I'm happier than a pig and you know what at this point. Because I know history. I know destiny. I know the psychological, spiritual algorithm that your computers don't tell you. I know the spirit of 1776, and you're going to feel it. You are feeling it. They're panicked. They're screaming like dying dogs at Hillary's speech, where she called for the government and Congress to pass laws to shut Infowars.com down. We're listed by name. She's listed me by name before. And they're coming. And it's already happening. But it shows everybody. Like a big giant neon sign flashing. Bzz, bzz, bzz. The good eats are in here. Not on the cockroach-filled halls of CNN. Now, let's get into the really exciting news right now. I've been a good boy about skipping breaks lately, but on this Friday, I'm going to skip this one because I want to have time to take calls at the bottom of the hour. This is really, really important, and I want to get to this right now. Donald Trump never used any of this in the campaign. And quite frankly, I know the inside baseball that his friends and associates say, look, we know you give to big charities privately, and we know you give to the police groups and firefighter groups and veterans groups privately, and that's fine. The giving massively directly to people on the street, sometimes on a daily basis. I mean, we're talking reportedly it's in the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions a year in some cases. He's super hard-nosed with other business people and other aggressive sharks. But then when it comes to common poor people or people that are nice to him, Donald Trump has a big heart. He's got that mix that any real man's got. And so I was told years ago about Donald Trump being a patriot. I rolled my eyes. I don't follow mainstream pop stuff. I thought of him as the Apprentice host and the rest of it. So I just wasn't well versed in it all. I didn't know he was against NAFTA and GATT and gave all this money to do it. And, was concerned forever about communism and globalism and learned about it from one of McCarthy's former top people. And there's been New York Times articles about that. But this guy really formed during that whole period in the 60s, post-McCarthy, and was let in on a lot of secret congressional inside baseball. If you want to go look that up, you can go do your own research. The New York Times has written about it. Now, they've asked him, they said, please stop feeding the homeless in Trump Tower. He's like, no, I own it, I'm going to do it. Please stop buying people houses. Please. I mean, because the word gets out, and so there's people there coming, and if they can actually get a hold of Trump or have him be seen, and he sits there and judges them and talks to them, by judges, I mean, gets their bearings, but most of the time he ends up giving them stuff. And sometimes it's $1,000, sometimes it's a house, sometimes it's a car. It's crazy. And if Donald Trump tells you something, by the way, you can bank he's going to do it or die trying. So there's been articles now written about it post-election. Donald Trump saved my family. Widow's daughter recalls how the Donald paid off her mom's $300,000 mortgage after her father committed suicide. I mean, there's hundreds of these. I can't even keep track of them all. A family sees his limousine broke down. They pull over and help him. Tell them they're fans of his show. He gets their card. I think it was like, what? I've got the article here. $250,000 mortgage he paid off the next week. It's paid for. And I don't have time to go over all of these. There's a bunch of them. These acts of kindness reveal there's more to Donald Trump than just his celebrity persona. And then it's people that are on drugs and he pays for their rehab. It's airlines would accommodate a boy with serious medical issues, so Trump gave him his jet. He gave sanctuary to a Grammy Award-winning singer, Jennifer Hudson, after 3 of her family members were murdered. He helped save a family's working farm that was going into foreclosure. After Sergeant Andrew was released from prison in Mexico, the Donald sent him a big check to help get him back on his feet. What Trump did for a bus driver who helped save a woman from jumping off a bridge. By the way, I've been told about stuff that nobody even knows about, I'm telling you, it's almost like he just does it so compulsively that people around him are like, just don't let him get around, or we'll never even get to the next meeting. Okay, so this is what goes on. Now, and he's gotten awards from Jesse Jackson for hiring large amounts of African Americans and other minorities and promoting them if they've got the skills, in which he gives them the time to get the skills in training. That's why the globalists hate him, folks. He wants prosperity, and he isn't out to get little people. And they know that. And they dug up stuff on Trump that they didn't put in the tabloids because it would only made him look good. I'm going to leave it right there. But you see what Bill Clinton did with his connections to black people, totally turned his back on him, not with Donald Trump. Now, I'm going to stop right there. Let's continue here. Here's the new articles. It's up on INFOWARS.com. Nobody knows about this. Black homeless woman says Trump allowed her to live in Trump Tower rent-free for 8 years. We're going to play the video in a moment. But first, I want to play the first video. This is a lady, Henrietta Hughes. This is CNN. Woman who pled to Obama is still struggling. Henrietta Hughes caught the nation's attention in February when she cried for help during one of Obama's town hall meetings. After her plea, Hughes was given a free home to live in temporarily, but she is still struggling to find a job. And then there was Republicans that came and actually got her a house. And I remember in the news, it wasn't even CNN and others didn't even give credit to them. They just said, oh, she's in a temporary home, and then they bought her a house. See how the deception works? Hughes, who is 60s, faithfully goes to an employment center in Fort Myers in hopes of finding a job. And then she doesn't, living out of her car. So there's a black lady getting 3 meals a day paid for by Trump in a furnished area, in a office area that she was caught squatting, and he just turned it into a house for her. It's got a bathroom, whole 9 yards. That's what Trump's done in Trump Tower when he found out the cops were hauling her out of there and evicting her. And he's so hands-on, when she wouldn't leave, they called Trump and he came down. This doesn't fit with the media's portrayal of Trump as a racist bigot. A homeless black woman reveals that she's been living in Trump Tower for 8 years with the blessings of the Donald himself. Filming from a hotel window, the woman says she originally snuck into the building before becoming a squatter in one of the empty rooms. Police arrived the next day and told the woman to leave or she'd be arrested. When I told them I would not go, they contacted Mr. Trump over the phone and he came down here. Instead of evicting me off the property, he said I can stay. It's been 8 years I've been here, the woman reveals. Not only did he not evict me off the property, he made sure that I ate 3 meals a day by room service and that I get a delivery of fresh flowers every week, she adds. See, Trump can't stand seeing people in squalor. He's not surrounded by all the gold and the stuff because he wants to be better than people like the other elitists. It's because that's what he likes to see. And you can say, wow, that's pretty grandiose. Okay, he wants to be grandiose to everybody else. Which if humans want something, we can have it, folks. You understand that? We can build anything we want. It's economies of scale. If it weren't for him, I'd be homeless. I'd be dead right now. I'd be on the street, she says, adding that Trump hasn't asked me to pay a dime. Donald Trump is not a bad guy. He's a wonderful, wonderful man. Everything I'm telling you here today is true, she concludes. Trump is renowned for his acts of kindness towards people in unfortunate circumstances, although the mainstream media is loath to mention them. After Oscar-winning actress Jennifer Hudson's brother and mother were murdered in 2008, Trump offered a hotel suite for Hudson and her family, and it goes on and on and on. And that's nothing. And, you know, it's not known that Mel Gibson's given, like, I shouldn't even say, this was like years ago, and it's inside stuff, and a little bit of it came out, so I'll just tell you. I think it's like, last time I heard, $10 million from I know the family, his dad, a bunch of people, $10 million for kids to get organ transplants and brain surgeries and stuff just in California alone. And that's just what they know about. But, I mean, obviously the guy's got billions of dollars. But the point is that conservatives are 6 times more likely in major studies to actually give money to people, to actually help them. Liberals all virtue signal that they're going to give you money all day because they're not liberals. These terms mean nothing. So here's the lady that conservatives had to come help because Obama wouldn't. Henrietta Hughes during the campaign right before Obama got elected. Here it is.
Thank you very much. I first want to say I respect you and I'm so grateful for you.
Thank you.
I've been praying for you, but
I believe in prayer, so I appreciate that.
I have a urgent need, unemployment and homelessness, a very small vehicle for my family and I to live in. We need urgent, and the housing authority have 2 years waiting lists, and we need something more than the vehicle and the parks to go to. We need our own kitchen and our own bathroom. Please help.
Well, listen, what's your name? What's your name?
It's Henrietta Hughes.
Okay, Ms. Hughes. Well, we're going to do everything we can to help you. But there are a lot of people like you. And we're going to do everything we can. All right? But I'll have my staff talk to you after this.
The weird white lady's like going, I love you, Obama, like sexually. Meanwhile, black unemployment it didn't quite double. It right at doubled. And just absolutely, he thinks he's just got you. It's the arrogance. He could have had a huge PR win getting her a job somewhere. But no. No. Could have told rich donors, hey, get her a job, boom, she'd had one. No. Because they think they've already got you. They're arrogant. Meanwhile, they've announced $10 million in U.S. steel moving back next year. This is before he's even on office, 41 days out. Carriers coming back. 2 Ford plants now. $50 billion in Japanese investment in high-tech, cutting-edge systems, from robotics to chips to communications, that'll be in America with Americans. And it goes on and on. Restaurants are seeing a 35-40% increase. Christmas purchasing suddenly started skyrocketing. It's the Trump effect, optimism. The globalists want to kill optimism while telling you the economy's great. They know we've been in a quasi-depression for 9 years. And yeah, it started before Obama, and he continued the exact same thing because the same banks run him. But now there's a new sheriff in town. People say, well, I thought it's a new world order. They're invincible. No, we're here to take over. We're here to change things. We're here to restore the republic. We can win if we just believe in it. People don't believe they can ever do anything. You got to have motivation. We're promoting freedom and prosperity and living your own life and being self-sufficient. That's a lot sexier than standing in government lines and being a slave. Now, here's the lady in Trump Tower that's been there for 8 years, showing folks where she lives and how Trump takes care of her. And again, she's not the only one. And so it is becoming an issue because, well, this is just what Trump does. But then they'll have some, guy, some architect that tries to triple charge Trump off what he agreed to. Architects are famous for that. They're not all bad, but boy, they're famous for being some of the biggest weasels out there, aren't they? If you ever worked with them, you know what I'm talking about. Builders seem to be great, but it's the architects. And well, I'm digressing. Let me go to this video. Here it is.
Hi, everybody. I am a squatter in Donald Trump's building, Trump Tower, in New York City. As you can see, I'm in my pajamas. There's Central Park right there. And that tall building is the Essex House on Central Park West, near 59th Street. I came in here about 9 years ago and snuck in the building and just started occupying one of the empty rooms in here. By the time our housekeeper noticed I was here the next day, she called the manager and they called the New York City police. Who came up here and told me I had to leave or I would be arrested. When I told them I would not go, they contacted Mr. Trump over the phone, and he came down here. Instead of him evicting me off the property, he said that I can stay. And it's been 8 years I've been here. Not only did he not evict me off the property, he makes sure that I get 3 meals a day, by room service, and that I get a delivery of fresh flowers every week. So you people, not a bad guy at all.
All right, let's stop right there. The full video, she goes on to say what a great guy he is and how people are lying about him. Now, the thing about Trump is she's obviously got health issues and some handicap issues, that's who Trump helps. Now, just like that, when I see homeless that actually have their legs missing, I give them money. I don't give it to just some drug addict. It's the same thing with Trump. That lady needed help. He gave it to her. Max Kaiser is here in town shooting some of his episodes for his hit TV show on RT. And Adam Curry, the big star of MTV, back when it was the biggest thing there was, got a successful radio show and more. He's a fellow Austinite. Tall guy. I knew he was tall, but he's really tall. Really nice guy. I just met him out there in the hall. We're going to tweet that out on Twitter at Real Alex Jones here in the next few minutes. They're going to talk about the media landscape, where they think it's going. Kaiser was already here in town, so he decided to stay another day, and he and Adam are here, so I'm very, very excited about that. I should take some calls if I said I was going to take calls. What do you make of this media war? And Hillary saying censor the alt-right media. And again, why is she able to define what is now meant to be censored? And the list they're using is a list that the Washington Post has now retracted and admitted isn't accurate. That's a pretty big deal. I want to play, it's like a 10-minute clip. I want to play the last 2 minutes of it, and I'm not fawning after Tucker Carlson. It's just the Tucker Carlson I know behind the scenes. He came here years ago, wanted to come see me, and I've had dinner with him a few times and some other things. Just like really smart, and it's like a closeted Alex Jones, okay? And now you're seeing it on Fox News, but it's like a smarter closeted Alex Jones coming out now as an anti-New World Order patriot, now that it's safer to do. And he just annihilates these guests. I don't have time, obviously, to play the whole thing. Plus, it's not my show. I haven't even played, Colbert attacking me for 15 minutes 2 days ago, with just lies and twisted garbage. But I've got to play this because, I mean, when I grow up, I want to be like Tucker Carlson, to be able to sit here and put up these people's crap and then calmly just tear them apart. He sits there for 10 minutes with this congressman who keeps saying all the alt-right's run by Russians. And finally, the congressman gets mad and says, you work for the Russians. And folks, to say that I work or Tucker Carlson works for the Russians is just, it's kind of a bummer because I want to go see Russia someday. I've been to Europe a lot and things and been to Latin America. I've never been to Africa. I want to go there. If I go to Africa, it doesn't mean I'm a, say a South African agent, or if I go to Nigeria, I'm not a Nigerian agent, or if I go to Tripoli, I'm not a North African agent or a Gaddafi agent. But I want to go to Russia. But I'm kind of like, I better not. They'll say he went to Russia to get his communist marching orders. Even though communism has been dead there for a long time, seems like communism is coming back here. So that's coming up here in just a moment. Briefly, there's a lot of new items at InfoWarsStore.com. A lot of new things we've had, a lot of survival items, a lot of new water filtration systems, a lot of new solar sleeping bags and tents that are rated the very best on the web and by survival sites that we've bought in bulk so that we can sell them to you at some of the lowest prices out there. Some of these we can say today are the lowest price, but Amazon might have it for less tomorrow. They just undercut everybody. The point is, buy it from us. It funds our operation. They're great products we've checked out. Speaking of great products, DNA Force is our flagship absolute detoxifier, antioxidant, you name it, with the bio-PQQ, the CoQ10, and all the other cofactors and amino acids that aid in the absorption of it. And it's an amazing product. 25% off. That is about to end. InfoWarsStore.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. And again, there are a lot of specials running now. I'm not going to go into all of them because of the interest of time, but as we go towards the end of the year, it's like it's the best time to buy a car is when? End of the year. It's true. Black Friday is not a good day to shop. Now, we had Black Friday specials that were some of the best of the year, but they've got big studies out. On average, Black Friday's not one of the better days. After the New Year is pretty good, but generally it's after Christmas. Well, we have prices that are after Christmas now. Some of the biggest discounts of the year because, like a car dealership, we don't want to pay for the big inventory that's over there. And there's some big inventory. Now, this went faster than I thought, so it's going to sell out before the end of the year. DNA Force, we hardly ever have it at 25% off. It's amazing. Try it for yourself. It regrows nerves. It has nerve growth factor. I cut my finger off, 13 years ago, helping people when their boat was on fire. I'm not kidding. Kevin Booth told the story. He was there. He's like, wait for the fire department. Don't help them. And I was like, I'm going to help them. And then I cut my finger off, trying to climb in the boat, fell off, caught it. It was hanging by a piece of skin, or it would have gone in the water. Swam back over to my boat, got back on, went to the hospital, I reattached it. It was still numb on the tip and on the side, and I started taking BioPQQ that's in the DNA Force about 3 years ago when it came out, and started tingling again, and then all the feeling came back. Now, it doesn't do that for everybody, but let me warn you, consult your physician. You got back pain and stuff already, or you already had injuries and old stuff? Sometimes it hurts like hell. People start calling in going, yeah, my back's numb, or feeling's coming back, or whoa, you know, I had back surgery 10 years ago, and it's like back now. I feel I've got more energy and I can move better, but what's going on? It's one of the few products we sell. It's one of the few nutraceuticals you can actually make claims on because it's so documented. BioPQQ, folks, will take you to the moon without a rocket. Of course, I don't mean that literally. It's amazing. InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. Now, I cannot believe that as I sit here speaking to everyone and talking to everybody, that we're at the center of this. And quite frankly, I'm enjoying the fact that we're hurting them. But as a person, it's not fun. These are very serious players we're up against. And I laugh about it to put a gallows humor face on it. It's weird to have the EU list you by name and to have Hillary and Obama do it, and to have them say we need Congress to finish passing a law that passed the House and is now in the Senate to basically ban alt-right news websites. And I hate to use the term that they define, they coin, but the media takes it, the corporate media, the state-run media puts it out, and then everyone that disagrees with the establishment, who are mainly classic liberals. I mean, I'd call Max Kaiser or Mr. Carolla, I mean, they can define themselves as classical liberals, who don't like the mainline Republicans or Democrats. Well, we don't deserve, that was a big enemy of Bush, as everybody knows, to be demonized. And I mean, they had the NPR and New York Times this week say, Alex Jones is the gateway to white supremacism, with no evidence, no proof, no nothing. It's just, he discredits the government and all the lies, so then he sends you to white supremacists. The white supremacists hate me because I'm unifying people. They want the whole anti-New World Order movement to be racist. They hate my guts more than Benjamin Netanyahu, literally, because I'm unifying people. I'm about ideology. If there was some new country freer than America, I'd go there. I love America, but this place is falling apart. Now that Trump's here, I'm going to, obviously stay. And I pledged to go down with the ship, but I was thinking I might have to go down with it. Now we've got a chance, not because he's perfect, but because he's aware of what's happening. And he's not out to get people. So we're being censored on Reddit. We're being censored on Facebook now. I guess taking our site down is the next thing. They're basically blocking people being able to share our information. This is a war. Let's counter them by sending out more Infowars.com links. Go sign our petition. We're going to deliver to President-elect Trump physically at Trump Tower. We're also going to deliver it to Congress, but make a big deal out of hundreds of thousands of signatures saying we don't want our First Amendment banned. That's up on Infowars.com. And, I said let's just extend it 10 hours, but let's extend it through the weekend to next week because I want to, we've got close to 100,000 signups, but I want to get at least 250,000 signups. This is, send this petition out to your friends and family. Tell people to sign it. And also you can click it to get alerts on free speech issues specifically. You want to get our news alerts and videos and promo codes and podcast links and stuff, sign up at Infowars.com/newsletter for the InfoWars Insider. But if you want just info on free speech here and around the world, that's what this particular petition is all about. You can find both links at Infowars.com/newsletter. But there's a video up on Infowars.com that is the video of the day. Congressman calls Tucker Carlson a Russian agent on primetime television. And it's a long 10-minute clip. And I wish Carlson would have brought this up. I guess he didn't know about it. But the same day, they're on at night, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. That morning, the Washington Post came out and retracted a November 14th piece from 3 weeks ago where they say that basically InfoWars and we're listed, Breitbart, Drudge, that we're Russian agents and that we know that Russian bots were helping us. Well, the truth is they have bots trying to block us. It's the opposite. And then they had to come out and say, okay, there's no Russian bots. We're being sued, and we made it up, and we're sorry. And by the way, we shouldn't say these things are all fake news. Yeah, you got to sue somebody. You got to prove it was a lie. Then when somebody's lost a bunch of lawsuits, you can say that's a quack site. Another trick they've got is there are real fake news sites that put out fake news stories all the time, and they're covered under the First Amendment, they're covered under satire, but they're not really operating as satire. New Yorker magazine does this more and more. Like a third of their writing is satire. They won't tell you it's satire. So more and more mainstream news has been arguing in federal court as well when they get sued that they're entertainment and they're allowed to put out fake news. That's the new thinking. On Jesse Ventura's TV show, they were like, we've got to say we're entertainment because if we get something wrong, it's okay if it's entertainment. That's what the lawyers are saying. And I didn't get that thinking. I thought you're covered under the First Amendment news gathering even more, but that's where the law's going now in rulings that mainstream can be fake. Hell, an NFL ticket says it's not real and is entertainment. Now, I think most of it's real. There's some fake plays. Some people take a dive. But just in case, they're just telling you this is theater, this isn't real. Kind of like they tried to say with the whole primary situation. So this is just an intriguing clip. And again, watch the whole thing at INFOWARS.com. I'd love to play the whole thing, but the time we have, we're going to go to this clip and then come back and take your calls on fake news. I mean, this is their move against free speech worldwide. The Chinese started banning free speech online. When Chinese started going online 20 years ago, you'd see it. You know, this guy was arrested for writing fake news on a message board. He's in a labor camp for 3 years. This guy repeatedly did it. He's being executed for fake news. That is a communist Chinese term. And there it was hiding in plain view. All the years I said the prostitutes, the deception media, the collaborator media, the corporate media, the discredited media, the lamestream media, the dinosaur media is a term I coined. Prostitutes, Gerald Celente. And then it hit me. Like a ton of bricks. It's the name they put on us. Everything's inverted. I haven't given you any fake news today. 800-259-9231. 800. We'll launch the phone system over there. 800-259-9231. On this topic, where do you think they're going next? Will they be successful? I want to hear from you on this. And another topic. Michael Moore's kind of, maybe Trump's going to get killed. What do you think about that? We've sure seen mainstream media push it. And then I've got all these stacks of articles about, Trump says he's going to change all these things. And other people say, well, we just need to kill Trump. Look at this stack of political correctness today. OSU activists complained terrorist who stabbed 9 people was wrongly shot by police. Organizers of the protest said that Artan's particular actions were irrelevant. Yeah, you're waving a knife, you just stabbed 9 people. It's white racism. Isn't that just special? And then I've got all this news where they're going after people. I mean, it is amazing how they're demonizing here. Let me find it. And then we'll get to that video of the day here in a moment. Orange Coast college teacher calls Trump victory act of terrorism. We're really back to being at civil war. The leftist activists, the fascist activists that call themselves leftists and wear that camouflage politically are running around calling for physical attacks, murder, death, killing. They're burning Trump homes, people that support Trump. They're attacking people. They're kicking them downstairs. They're shooting people. And it's all supported. It's very sick. Black lawyer, free anyone charged with murdering whites. That's mainstream news. I mean, this is what I see every day. And then they say, I'm promoting violence. Divider in chief, Obama claims whites in northern states very different from southern states, very racist. And I've got a bunch of other ones right along that line as they try to divide this country. And then an Islamicist runs around from Somalia stabbing 9 people critically. He's waving a knife at the police. They shoot him, and that's an act of white racism. And the white students are saying that. They're so brainwashed in a cult, like, it's a black guy. He's killing white people. He's stabbing them. Give the man a medal. Put that officer in prison. Yeah, Alex, stop kissing the police butt. Yeah, a guy's trying to stab a cop waving a knife. He just stabbed 9 people. Man, that officer, you're right. That officer should be put in prison for life. For cold-blooded, premeditated. In fact, I don't even joke and say executed. I'm already saying that. I mean, this is the fruitcake ville we've entered. But speaking of it, here's Tucker Carlson with Congressman Adam Schiff with a straight face going, we've got to pass the law in the Senate to shut down the alt-right. They're Russian agents, Russian bots. Oh, yeah. Meanwhile, there's no Russian bots. I kind of wish there were promoting our articles. We're in there being hit by Reddit bots, Facebook bots, YouTube bots, Google bots, trying to suppress us. It's admitted. Again, an inversion of reality. How dare that officer? I mean, this poor black man only had stabbed 9 white students. They deserved it. It was reparation. And the media said for 5 hours, even after it was known, hour 1, that it was a large butcher knife, that there was no gun, and he ran people over, too. Oh, how dare it's the car's fault. I mean, this is a cult, people. Here's the clip.
Can you look right into the camera and say, I know for a fact the government of Vladimir Putin was behind the hacks of John Podesta's email?
Absolutely. The government of Vladimir Putin was behind the hacks of our institution and the dumping of information.
Of John Podesta's email.
Not only in the United States, but also in Europe.
Okay, you're not, you know what, you're not.
And Tucker,
no, look and say, I know they did. John Podesta's emails, they hacked those.
And I think that Ronald Reagan will be rolling over his grave.
Ronald Reagan.
You're carrying water for the Kremlin.
I'm not carrying water for the you're making, look, you're a sitting member of Congress on the Intel Committee, and you can't say they hacked.
You're gonna have to move your show to RT Russian television, because
you know what? That's just so beneath your office, because it's so dumb and you're being duplicitous. I'm asking you, did they hack Podesta's emails? And you can't say it.
Personal insults like that, Tucker. You
just said I was carrying. Oh, you said I was carrying water for Putin. That's pretty hilarious.
You know, when you essentially are an apologist for the Kremlin, that's what you're doing.
I'm an apologist. One last time, Congressman. Look into the camera and say they hacked John Podesta's emails. We know for a fact that Putin's government did that. You can't, and you know you can't, and you're hiding behind weasel words.
I just said that
say they hacked John Podesta's emails.
Russians. I'm not going to be specific as.
Oh, because you don't know it. That's why. All right, done. One. You don't know it, and you're alleging it without any evidence. And
you're ignoring the evidence because you don't care. The fact that it helped the Republican candidate is all you need to know.
That's totally false. I just think if you're going to make a serious allegation about an actual country with an actual government, you ought to know what you're talking about, and you don't.
I think that you ought to accept.
I got to go. I'm taking cash from Putin now. I'm on RT.
Republicans on the Intelligence Committee have seen for a fact.
If you could say it, you wouldn't.
No, they don't.
And you know that.
If you're willing to be in denial about this because it suits a Republican-elect president.
Okay, whatever. You can blather on all you want, man, but I give you a chance to state it clearly, and you wouldn't, which tells you everything you know.
You,
all right.
Or our president-elect.
Okay.
Not very much, apparently.
I appreciate that.
Tucker Carlson, he's using.
I need to take a call from Vladimir Putin, so I'm going to put you on hold.
Exactly. Oh, he's stealing my joke.
Some of the electors who will pick the president in 2 weeks are.
All right, that's enough. Oh, my gosh. You're using weasel words. How about Weasel World? That's where that congressman comes from. He hails from the planet. President Adam Schiff, or Congressman Adam Schiff. So, Donald Trump is delivering big time again, not just $10 billion in steel jobs. He's not even in the office yet, announcing they're coming back. 50 billion Japanese high-tech investment carrier coming back. 2 Ford plants coming back. Ford says they'll bring everything back if the taxes actually get cut to be even with the world standard for corporate income tax. No, now he is going to appoint an EPA chief that is going to say, no, carbon dioxide is not a pollutant. It makes plants grow. It's not associated with temperature increase. It comes after temperature increase because of a blooming of plants. And we are in an oxygen and carbon dioxide starved period, like Mars lost its atmosphere. It had water, it had oxygen, it had everything. It still does, but just not at a livable level for our species. They've proven it with the probes. In fact, they believe there was life on Mars before us because it cooled off first. Now, whether you believe that or not, the point is scientists admit we're losing our atmosphere. The Earth has lower oxygen and carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is hundreds of times lower than it used to be. Back during, say, the Jurassic. I mean, it's crazy how close this planet is losing its atmosphere. You want to really have some fear-mongering? Now, in the scheme of things, millions of years, maybe, hundreds of thousands, I don't know. I think big asteroid impacts, too, once your atmosphere gets weak, can then basically expel your atmosphere out into space. But that all gets into astrophysics and terraforming and NASA research, and it's all debatable. What's not debatable is that we're being brainwashed. Now, I have another clip I want to play. I already mentioned this, but I'm going to play it one more time. I'm having a coughing fit. It's always good to have a drink of water, isn't it? Or to have them throw something up over on the screen. That's always good, too. Let me go to the next story I was going to mention. It's up on INFOWARS.com. Video, sheriff blast lefty lawyer. Hands up, don't shoot was fake news. There are dead cops because of that fake news story. Yeah, remember what we were told in Ferguson, Missouri? They had 8 different black witnesses say that there was no hands up, don't shoot, that the man who'd been arrested and convicted many times of shaking people down and breaking into things had just been robbing the local convenience store of goods. It was in some type of probably drug-induced rage, we don't know, and charged the police car and then got shot. But hey, George Soros put out the whole thing, hands up, don't shoot, and then the NFL folks making tens of millions of dollars a year could put their hands up and all feel bad about themselves and go out and demonize everybody like they'd been put under attack. It was the New York Times, MSNBC, Washington Post, CNN, all promulgated it. And here's the big point I wanted to make that I thought of during the break. Mainstream corporate dinosaur fake news has really jumped the 10 trillion pound mutated five-eyed shark, the super megalodon, when they came out and declared everyone that disagreed with them fake news. This is like 20 times bigger than coming out and saying Trump supporters are deplorable. Because they're just announcing everything but us, everything but the establishment isn't even real. Not on some case-by-case basis, just you're not real, we have secret lists, and let's begin by banning Breitbart and Infowars.com. They have trouble with Drudge because it's just, Drudge is so low-tech, he's high-tech, that you just go to the page and it's links to mainstream, alternative, documents, raw videos, photos. So what are they going to do there? Just block his URL so people can't even share that? It's all verbal. It's all mental. It's all done by osmosis, person to person. InfoWars is too. And that's why we've got to do that now more than ever, because they're instituting the screening systems, the algorithms, to shut us down. If they can take us down, they can get everybody. All right, we got Max Kaiser and Adam Carolla coming in here after this first little 5-minute segment. It's going to be big. Stay with us. Now, I've got hundreds of news articles I haven't even gotten to yet, so I'm not going back to this for lack of material. You know why this show's so popular? We cover a lot of great information, but when we fall on our face, we fall on our face as well, because it's teleprompter free, and I don't even know who Adam Carolla is, but I have that name in my head, and I know from childhood watching him right through high school and college who Adam Curry is, and I've even listened to some of his radio shows off and on. He's got like his own network, an own show. I was calling him Adam Carolla. Who is Adam Carolla? What does he do? It's Adam Curry. But that's the great part. There's no central programmers above me, and that's the joke that Tucker Carlson was just making earlier, that is there some, centralized Putin calling him to give him orders, because he had a congressman on, a Democratic congressman on, saying to his face, you're a Russian agent. And then they have no evidence that Russia is controlling the alt-right, as Hillary defines us. And even the Washington Post had to retract that yesterday because it's outrageous libel, it's outrageous slander, it's outrageous defamation. So James and Stephen and Brian and David and Hector's been holding the longest, so I'll go to James and others, Stephen and Hawaii. We're going to go to you pretty early on to bring in wild card points and stuff with our guest, Adam Curry, and, of course, Max Kaiser. Now I'll just call him Max Flamingo. Well, why not just get the name completely wrong? After we were obsessing on the fact that the Pope's going to star in the new Pink Flamingos movie, we discussed that satire, folks, because the Pope made horribly disgusting statements yesterday that I won't even repeat on air and dignify about the type of stuff that goes through his mind. I won't sit here and talk about how he talked about how people enjoy eating feces and having sexual pleasure from it. Guess I just did. That's a little Greek form of arguing there that we just engaged in. We're going to go to your phone calls after the break. But since I mentioned it, here is Mr. Fake News Brian Williams. And it's so surreal to have Hillary, to play the clip last hour, saying, we need Congress to pass the law to shut down the fake news. We'll decide what it is. It's very dangerous. This is the biggest liar of our lifetimes, who said she was in combat and attacked. Well, like Brian Williams, running around lying to us. But here's Williams with this other weasel. And then they go out to real fake news sites and then come and interview them. And then the fake news sites come on and go, yes, I'm fake, and so's Alex Jones. They even have the fake news sites out going, we work with Alex Jones. We like him. He's fake like us. This is the games they play, trying to deceive people because they are the fake news industry. And here is the king. If there was a prom or a dance, a ball up on Bald Mountain, you know, up there on the edge of hell, and you had the demons, and the devil was the king, and then his bride was the queen. You would have Brian Williams the king and Hillary the queen. They should get married and together make little deceitful creatures together. So here, ladies and gentlemen, is the king of fake news. Dun, 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 Brian Williams.
And lately, there's been a lot of coverage in the real news about the growing and booming business of creating fake news. Our own Jacob Soboroff just spoke exclusively to the creator of one of the most widely shared fake news stories in the lead up to election days, with us from our L.A. bureau tonight. Hey, Jacob.
Hey, Brian, pretty extraordinary. You know, after this weekend shooting
at
DC Pizzeria, it has become...
All right, let's stop right there. Let's remember that weasel. We already played it last hour. You've got these little weasels. One looks like a weasel. The other one looks like a serial killer, Brian Williams, and he's this stolen valor guy. I expect to see him in a Walmart parking lot wearing a Congressional Medal of Honor and getting donations or something. You know, he has like one leg blown off, but it's fake. The leg's tucked behind a trench coat behind his back. You're like, hey, your foot's tied on your back. Shut up, conspiracy theorist. I'm a war hero. All right, you, John Wayne. I mean, these people never end. I love it. They admit the new spokesman against fake news is Brian Williams. Is this all an alternate reality, a dark satire written by Kurt Vonnegut from heaven?
Now, their own record label said that they'll make it if they live long enough. Well, they have, and Guns N' Roses is one of the most talked about bands this year, and MTV caught them live at the Ritz in New York City. So get ready for a high-powered, loud, high-energy, loud, rock and roll, loud show as they perform My Michelle, a cover of the Dylan classic, Knocking on Heaven's Door, and, of course, Welcome to the Jungle. Guns N' Roses live at the Ritz is up next.
Hey, I want to hear a little bit more of the Guns N' Roses now. You know, I love Guns N' Roses. I wish they'd stop, you know, just getting on the whole political correct bandwagon. But Adam Curry's here with Max Kaiser. Max rarely comes to Austin. We're flattered to have him. And I guess he was hanging out with you. And I've actually thought about trying to get you on. You have your own syndicated radio show and own podcast. It's really popular because I've tuned into it quite a few times, and I've got friends.
You're a big part of it.
I think I've had a few clips of myself on that.
Yes, because you have the best clips ever.
Oh, no, I don't.
Them. Yes, they're growing babies and cows. Alex, come on. I love it.
They are growing babies.
I know, but you actually say it. That's what's so great about it.
And they call that fake news, but then I can pull up the Chinese show, you know, national TV where they're growing humanoids inside cows and have cows that have, you know, that produce human milk.
But this is now coming out in mainstream news.
Sure.
You've been saying this for years, so yeah.
It was in like scientific stuff, Scientific American 20 years ago.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy. I cover stuff that's like totally admitted, and then it's like a 1950 going, he claims there's something called automobiles. And it's like, yeah, they've been around 50 years, man. You know, it's not like I'm saying automobiles are coming in like 1800. Enough about me. We have Max Kaiser. Max, can we talk about how amazing you are and the fact you're even on the air today?
Well, yeah, my Airbnb caught fire yesterday. And you guys let me sleep here last night. Stacy and I camped out. That was really nice. So I'm on the show again today because I have nowhere else to go. I'm kind of stuck.
So you're not, okay.
I mean, it was great. It was fantastic. But, you know, we had no place to stay, and there we were.
No, you're a tough guy. And
it's great. Thank you. Well, thank you so much. That was fantastic. And to be here with Adam Curry is fantastic.
It is. All right. Max Kaiser, everybody knows who Adam Curry is. And he moonlights as Adam Carolla. I was teleprompter free. Seriously, are there any teleprompters here? Because they now accuse me of claiming that there's teleprompters in here.
I don't see any teleprompters. No,
there are. I mean, call list over there.
Yeah, that's the call list.
Steve in Hawaii.
Yeah,
we're gonna go to him.
Hey, Steve.
If you guys are game, I'd like so we can take calls to go maybe 20 minutes to the next hour.
Fantastic.
All right, and then I'm going to hand the baton to Leanne McAdoo to take over for the rest of that, and also play a clip from our great reporter who's out there exposing a lot of the stuff that's happening on the road to the Trump events. Now, instead of me talking and first asking my questions, what is front and center on your radar screen?
Fake news. Fake news is number one, which, as you know, so the No Agenda Show is the podcast that I do. We've been tracking this for a long time, and we feel that this is now the opportune moment, especially in connection with Pizzagate, which is being used as, you know, oh, it's dangerous. So licensing is on its way. Licensing of journalists, licensing of all kinds of things. That's what we really believe is going to happen.
And then you're the accepted group because you toe the line.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's how China does it. They license journalists, and even when they get out of line, they arrest you for fake news.
Max and I were talking the other day. Neither of us are verified on Twitter. And I think that's where it's really going to start.
He has 25 million viewers a week, conservatively, one of the biggest networks in the world, not verified. He invented virtual trading on the stock market.
Yeah.
Buddies with George Soros.
Bitcoin Meister.
Doesn't get any credit.
Nakamoto, the real Satoshi.
The real guy is here.
That's right, unverified. But it gives me plausible deniability because this way I can say it's not really me tweeting.
Tilt the mic towards your face. You just.
But I think that is the first step, is this verification thing. You know, because you look at this journalist who had 500 followers and they work some station somewhere and they get verified. I think I'm the real Adam Curry. I'm pretty sure I am. But now I don't want it because that will be in the market.
Well, back in the day, I was dumb and never really got on Twitter early. But then I had to really have people call them and get mad, even have a lawyer write a letter. And they go, okay, fine. Give us a copy of your passport, your driver's license, and some type of bill, and we'll see. And then they finally did it.
Yeah.
So, but now I'm told people that are even more famous than I am or you am, they just won't even respond to you when you want to get verified.
Yeah. But I don't want it now. No, I'm not interested.
No. Well, continue. That's a big truth bomb. I hadn't thought of that. Right. They are going to push licensing.
Well, of course they are. I mean, this is in Europe. The European Parliament just passed a resolution, and this is all about fake news. And the whole idea is to fund journalists with education, fund NGOs, to really work. And
to create lists to block off our sites. It's already happening to us.
Of course it is.
By the way, let's say it. That's what Matt Drudge came here a year ago and said. That's what he always hypes on. He said, stop being on Facebook and Twitter. They're going to end up censoring you. Build your own platform. Everybody go to websites again, have lots of independent things, like lots of little independent shops and restaurants. It's the same thing, not big box stores. You know, go to noagendashow.com, go to curry.com.
I built a platform called StartJoin. It's a crowdfunding platform with its own cryptocurrency called StartCoin. So to your point, Alex, building a platform with its own currency to fight the New World Order. That's what I'm doing. That's how I'm contributing to this revolution.
Good.
I mean, what more can I say about it?
No, there it is. Drudge says they're internet ghettos, and that was over a year ago in the studio. It really is internet ghettos now. That's what they did with the Jews first. They first said, okay, you can't advertise, you can't have your businesses in this area. Then now you got to be in this ghetto. Now, it's just poor, dirty people. Let's take them and send them to a work camp.
But it's undeniable.
Then they kill you.
It's undeniable now when we see the President-elect Trump. We see what happened with Brexit. We see what's happening with Italy. I think these types of platforms, alternative to the mainstream, is more important than ever right now. And people are definitely finding it. And Facebook is kind of becoming a graveyard in a way. I mean, I have to have an account just to see what's going on, but none of it's
Well, I famously said I use it like a toilet. I mean, I don't expect it to always be there. And it's just kind of like a hole in the ground out back, at the farmhouse. But we put our info out there, but we don't expect it to be there tomorrow.
It may very well not be. I mean, online communities always end up broken. We've seen it. GeoCities, AOL. Eventually it'll go away.
They've captured a critical mass, and there's something like 2 billion monthly users, and it's going to, they're rolling out aircraft to hover over places without internet connectivity to create more users. So clearly this is an incredible force to be reckoned with. And as we're leading up to the election, the Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO, and his connections in Washington were helping to filter news.
Oh, he was already censoring massively, and then after Hillary lost, the media said, the dinosaur media, it's your fault, you didn't censor more, and so now he's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, this is the epic battle that's taking place, is mainstream media who, just like the record business, for years denied, and now, if you sell 2,000 records, you're top 10 on Billboard. That's how bad it is.
Wow.
It's that bad.
Wow, I could put out an album and sell 100,000.
You get platinum status. Alex Jones' Christmas record. I would definitely buy that. It's Jingle Bells, The Lonely Soldier, Mama Stole My Christmas Tree, all the classics.
I want to do it.
Let's do it.
Grandma got run over by a reindeer.
That's it. That's the fun.
Sorry, I'm interrupting. This guy's saying smart stuff.
Of course he is.
I forgot what I was talking about.
Adam Curry.
No, you were saying the music industry didn't listen. They were arrogant. They didn't get it.
So now news. And news, they fought. Google was complicit by killing Google Reader, which RSS, which is still a great distribution mechanism, gives you, in fact, a feed very much like a Twitter or a Facebook feed. When Google Reader was purposely destroyed, the whole idea of RSS kind of fell apart, but it's slowly coming back now. And you see the epic battle between the mainstream against Silicon Valley. All day now I hear on mainstream is, well, these guys are dangerous now. And so this is going to be an interesting butting of heads. We'll see what happens there.
I'll tell you what's exciting. I actually have a fellow showing up about 2:15 today when we go off air and the ladies take over, who is the owner of one of the larger second tier, about to become first tier, cord-cutting companies. And he gets what's happening. It's all about content, like Redstone said back in the 30s when he went from just it being about the theaters to the actual content. Before that was just the theater. Movies were like some secondary deal. You just went to the big fancy theater and had drinks or whatever. And so I see there's all sorts of other things that are going to bite the mainstream dinosaur media in the butt. We're the least of their problems. It's going to be all these other distribution platforms.
Yes, and not only that, but different business models. You have a phenomenally interesting and I think obviously successful business model with your entire InfoWars life and all the I mean, hey, that's how I got turned on to you. I got Berkey water filter. I got my 1 acre crisis seed garden. I got my meals ready to eat.
Super female vitality.
No,
it's one I take.
Yeah.
And
by the way, it actually works better for men for whatever reason, but men don't want to buy that formula.
Potty Squatty is an innovative product that changes people's lives.
Everyone needs a Max.
Hey, let's be serious.
Garden in a can.
We sell really cool products.
Garden in a can with a marijuana version.
We sell really good products and fund ourselves.
Yeah.
That's an original idea, and more people are going to adopt that, where you sell direct products to your audience and don't have to have some corporate sponsor.
And we get a drone delivery service. Get the drones on the roof so people can.
Anyways, you were continuing. So where do you see this, Adam Curry? Where do you see this going?
Well, so obviously we have our own distribution. It may get a little complicated. They may start to shut things down. But I think look at how WikiLeaks, everyone got around it. That's kind of unstoppable. The internet in that regard, I think, is still pretty. Sure,
that's where they're starting. It's just stealth banning. Oh, sorry, you can't share InfoWar links as of yesterday
on Facebook. On Reddit.
Facebook, it's selective. Only some of our links. It's on Reddit. It's just you can't.
Right. So, but
you can have 1 million votes. It won't go up.
That's right. But that's why advertising online, I don't see a future in that. And the mainstream has, even NPR or other like PBS, public media have no idea how to actually work with the public to create programming. And that includes, like our show, we're all listener funded. So we have financial support. We have people, we call our audience producers. Get us clips, get us art.
No, exactly. And the audience, which is the big part of InfoWars.
Yes, sir.
It's like a symbiotic thing.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of that, we're going to come back and take phone calls and then continue on with Adam Curry and Max Keiser, both in the studio. MaxKeiser.com is his website. Now more than ever, folks, you got to visit our actual websites. Adam Curry of NoAgendaShow.com is our guest. Of course, he's the most famous star of MTV fame. Boy, MTV used to be so huge. Now it's just a Sumner Redstone brainwash your children medium. Max Keiser's here. I want to start taking calls now instead of later because we've got time into the next hour with these guys. But what are some of the other areas you guys want to get into after we take calls?
Go, Max.
Well, first of all, you mentioned Axl Rose before. I just want to mention, the group, what group was that?
Guns N' Roses?
Guns N' Roses. Stacey Herbert does an excellent Axl Rose impression. I just want to put that out there.
You're always being ironic on my show and not yours. Can we have the serious, Max?
I think obviously the topic du jour is this idea of fake news, as Adam mentioned it.
It's total censorship and how they're dressing up their most draconian, book-burning attack on free speech the world's ever seen. It just the bravado of it.
Yeah, I mean, so
the daring.
Under McCarthyism, there was something called the communists, and you had the Committee to Save America from the Communists.
Now it's the evil patriots that want to make America great again. We got to shut them up because they're Russian agents. Who the hell believes that?
But fake news is oxymoronic, and that news is by definition extemporaneous and open to revision. They say it's the first draft of history. So a lot of what's reported as news later, it's like, well, in the heat of the battle, We looked at it after 6 months, and we revised what was then considered news, and this is more of the historical document. So to say that's fake news is, again, it's an oxymoron. All news, to some degree, would have some degree of subjectivity to it, would have some degree of...
But these are the people saying, kill Donald Trump.
News is not pure. It's not a pure... it comes out...
It's all propaganda.
Whole cloth and pure. News has, in many times, has errors in it. You try to do the best that you can. But to say it's fake news, it's just saying we don't want any news. We don't want any
That's right.
news.
They're introducing the idea that...
We want propaganda. We want only propaganda. It comes from one source. And if you don't report what we say, it's like Britain, where we do most of our shows, has become a totalitarian propaganda state, where the state is now dictating everything that comes out in any major news source. We're constantly harassed, as I was saying yesterday, by Ofcom, the regulator, who gets actually into our face and says, gives us scripts. The UK regulator gives us scripts to read on our show, and then they accuse us of propaganda. The regulator gives us scripts that are detailing our position on energy companies in the UK. That's state-sponsored propaganda. That's right up there at Pol Pot.
And all of this grew out of D notices. All of this grew out of national security. Oh, you can't talk about where nuclear weapons are stored. Next, it's you can't say you're for Brexit, or you can't say you're against it. You just can have no view.
You can't
we couldn't mention Brexit for 6 months.
You can't say anything negative about the migrant situation.
We can't say...
It's illegal.
We couldn't mention Brexit for 6 months. They threatened to take RT off the air in the UK. And that's what the regulator said. Okay? And that's the kind of restrictions we deal with. There's no free speech in the UK. The UK is pretty high up on the global free speech index.
And by the way, they want a law passed here the same as England that, quote, if something's foreign media while they invite it in, and then you're an American on that international platform, everything's global, then you can't ever make comments about anything domestic. Well, how are you supposed to do the news then?
I'm sure you covered the repeal of the Smith-Mundt Act on your show. And people need to hear that, I think, that in the, I think it was the mid-70s, there was a bill, an act, a law that said the U.S. government may not propagandize its citizens.
And they repealed it 3 years ago.
In the National Defense Authorization Act. And the reasoning behind it was, well, we do so much propaganda on the internet that it's going to eventually flow into the U.S. So just so we don't get in trouble, you might as well just take it off the table. And this is only a couple of years ago.
Yeah, they said we're going to put out fake news. They said even deceptive stories.
No, they said we do put out the Voice of America. They do put out fake news.
So they're saying we're fake when they admit they're fake and passed a law that they can lie to us.
Correct.
Voice of America is an American propaganda arm for American propaganda. It was out. You couldn't broadcast Voice of America in America due to anti-propaganda laws. Then they changed the law, and now you can broadcast Voice of America inside America because they're pro-propaganda. There is no anti-propaganda laws anymore in America. As I mentioned to you a while ago, when I was doing my show in Paris, I was approached from somebody from Voice America to do an on-air hissy-fit resignation on RT. And I
wait, was this the same time when that other girl?
That girl did eventually.
It came out. It was
2 years later.
Set up.
Yeah, it's all set up. Yeah. And I told them, it's.
Of course, we know it's not really Voice of America. It's Central Intelligence Agency.
Right. So they were flashing some big money around. I'm like, you don't get it. I was a stockbroker in the 80s. You can't bribe me. You're not with that sack of money. You've got to come with a truck full of money or go home.
But he is bribable.
If the truck is big enough, maybe I'll consider
3 18-wheelers.
But the budget of Voice of America wouldn't take me to the place I would need to go to undermine my own show. You freaking losers, get out of my face.
We're such cheapskates. I can't believe.
I know they've only offered me $10 million to sell it. I'm like, listen,
but apparently
not a very big number.
Some rookie journalist babe somewhere. She went for the dough, and now
it was a big.
Where is she now? Completely gone from the face of the earth. Sold her whole career down.
She was the girl that kept saying Putin.
Yeah,
instead of Putin.
That's right. We're gonna go right to your phone calls on the other side. This is epic stuff. Stay with us. NoAgendaShow.com is our guest, Adam Curry. We really should play some old clips from MTV.
It's a blooper reel.
A blooper reel.
That I put up on YouTube. I've had this for 30 years, and I finally said, I'm putting it up.
Is it the Adam Curry blooper reel?
It's me, it's Downtown Julie Brown, it's
how do we Google it? We just...
oh, yeah, Adam Curry MTV blooper reel.
Adam Curry MTV blooper reel. Let's cue it up. Let's take some phone calls.
Nina Blackwood?
No, she's not on it.
Oh, that's too bad.
Hey, but let's get serious here for a minute.
I was like,
okay.
They really are coming for us. They admit they are. I think it's a major miscalculation. I'm not trying to be overconfident. They were already planning to censor after the election. Hillary said the alt-right will be discredited when they lose. We have to shut them down. Well, she wasn't even looking at the real polls. Now we're going to have the president in there, who's not perfect, I'm sure, but isn't going to be for censorship of the media that got him into power or any other media, I hope. How do you see this playing out?
Well, there's something else that is happening, and we actually covered this yesterday on the show, my partner and I, John C. Dvorak, and that is the tort laws. So now you're going to see a lot of reporting about if someone creates fake news or propagates fake news, what legal recourse do you have against those people? So I think you're going to see a number of key lawsuits where someone posts something online and they're going to get sued.
Oh, I agree. I think they're drumming it up and trying to maybe frame me as the test subject. I've been picking up on that because they just keep saying things I didn't say.
Well, you are definitely the poster child of fake news today. I mean, they're putting you in everywhere, which I think is fantastic. I mean, what an exposure. I mean, people. Let's
be honest, though. Do you think they pick me because they think I'm weak or because I'm hurting them? I mean, we are growing, we are hurting them. They all miscalculated and thought connecting me to Trump would discredit him, but their own numbers show it actually helped.
I think in general, the people who produce the shows that will do that, like, it's the news networks, CNN and MSNBC. I think it's just because you're dynamic and interesting to look at. And if you live in a separate dimension, which a lot of people do today, and they have their own reality, I think they believe things are true, and I can't stop that.
Oh, yeah, they thought Hillary was really going to win.
Yeah, oh, big time. Big time. And they look at you and you're vocal and you're, and of course it's always the moment where you're kind of energized that they put in there, and that everyone is, oh my God, look at these people. So that's just a visual thing. I don't think they're really thinking about.
And I agree with you. I think it's a disconnect too, because it's not that we think Trump's perfect. It's that Hillary's a real warmonger. Just like we rejected Jeb Bush, everybody, and then she stole the nomination from Bernie Sanders. I think Sanders might have beaten Trump.
Very possibly. Joe Biden might have beaten Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, very possible. Very possible.
Yeah, because he's got that whole blue collar appeal.
Everyone loves Joe.
Yeah, Joe has huge appeal.
I knew Hillary was going to lose about a month before the election when Joe was giving speeches, Biden, and having to go, look, I know a lot of you don't like her, and I don't blame you, okay? I mean, everybody's like, yeah. The crowd's like, yeah, we don't like her. Yeah. And he's like, whoa, man. She was really
I think there was just one Hillary stumble away from parachuting Biden into the race. All she had to do was just stumble one more time, and she would have been carried out.
I think he was on deck. I think he was on deck for it. I think so. I think he was on deck.
She kind of stumbled away into the finish line and then got.
But again, Max, the arrogance of running someone who was in the hospital for over a year in 2012, 2013. We have the sources. They didn't want to say definitively because it gets into records issues and things, but she had a brain tumor removed. I have this from high-level people. Yeah. And the sucker reportedly is growing back. Word is she ain't long for the world.
Laparoscopic surgery removed the brain tumor from the passing the instruments through the anus, up through the alimentary canal into the back of the head. Then they captured the tumor and pulled it out back through the anus, and it's not well reported. But, getting back to the legal aspect of things, where they are.
That was fake news.
That was pretty.
That was really satire. Stop it.
Satire.
Hey, I said a month before, the Secret Service told us she's falling down, she has a black ambulance, and then everybody saw it happen. I really got that from the Secret Service. Who, by the way, was shaking. When I saw him in Cleveland, I said, we're going to get the next few weeks, and then these are Secret Service, and then we got the info. These guys are shaking because they're so conditioned not to tell the stuff. That's real news, brother.
How does Colbert criticize fake news when he made his bones as a satirist, which is like
he plays a fake right-winger.
Right.
He is a fake news person by definition.
Now he's coming out against so-called fake news.
Brian Williams. Why are they using Brian Williams, the king of fake news, as the new crusader against it?
Well, I know Brian Williams. I've known him for a while. And when I was in New York, living in New York, New Jersey, he would do human interest pieces for the local NBC station on like breast augmentation. This guy is just a total robot. He'll do whatever you tell him to do. He's not a journalist as far as I'm concerned.
He's a hack.
Yeah, he's just a dude.
He looks the part.
Yeah, he looks the part.
Broadcast news.
Yes.
It's a great movie about this.
He looks like a serial killer.
He looks like a guy who does the news on TV. He fills the role.
Couldn't he star in the new American Psycho?
Easily.
That Hemmer guy on Fox. I mean, I'm not saying Hemmer's bad, but he looks scarier than Christian Bale.
Yeah, I agree with you. That guy looks very scary. I wouldn't want to meet him in a dark alley.
But back to Clinton. I think what is happening, I don't know if have you ever had Charles Ortel on?
No, but I've heard of him a lot.
Yeah, so he's the guy he's a financial analyst, and he really took apart the Clinton Foundation. And
let's get Charles Ortel on.
You definitely need to get this guy on. There is so much fraud and abuse that he has identified, and of course he's not getting on the air anywhere now. And I think that just the tentacles of that organization were so spread out throughout the political system and other large circles that everyone's deathly afraid. They were afraid to do anything against the Clintons. I really think.
Sure. I mean, at the top, they're all scared mercenaries. But what about the minions? Did you see the video of her give the speech yesterday saying we've got to have the government censor people? And then her own minions were like squealing like their mommy had just been killed.
Yeah, well, these people have been terrorized, are very, very frightened, and have grabbed onto mommy, as you say. I think that's...
It's like Nora Desmond from Sunset Boulevard, where, you know, that film, the famous film that Billy Wilder directed, in the end, where she's, I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille, and it's a demented ex-movie star going down the stairs and having a nervous breakdown. That's where Hillary is in her political life.
Great analogy.
Thank you. And
what's the one where there's the two sisters and one's crazy?
Mommy Dearest.
Yeah,
no.
Who's afraid of baby something?
No, whatever happened to Baby Jane?
Exactly.
That's it. Whatever happened to Baby Jane?
Whatever happened to Baby
We're
Jane?
dating ourselves, gentlemen.
That's Hillary and
Fast
Bill.
and Furious, quick. Let's do some modern movies.
That's the Hillary
where cars drive downhill for 30 minutes, running over boulders and don't blow a tire.
Boom. Oh, no.
It's worse than a cartoon. At least you know with like Looney Tunes when the rock falls on the coyote and doesn't kill him that it's not real.
Well, let me introduce something, Mickey Mouse.
Okay.
Let me tell you why I'm introducing Mickey Mouse. Because Mickey Mouse is the reason why you have these draconian copyright laws in America today.
Sir.
Every time Mickey Mouse is ready to enter the public domain, they pass the Copyright Extension Act. And due to Walt Disney's corporate influence, Sonny Bono famously did one the last time. So copyright lasts for lifetime plus, I think, 73 or 75 years. So you have, in a sense, perpetual copyright, which means that ideas are owned by the corporations. And this is where they attack, they'll attack new media. This is where they'll attack.
Well, that's what Drudge thought they would do.
You'll say on your show a phrase that they will claim is protected by copyright law, and then that's how they will
Like Pope Francis is a turd burglar.
Possibly. Disney might suggest that the McDonald's Corporation could say they own Hamburglar, and you're violating the Hamburglar name by saying turd burglar, and therefore they have to issue a DMCA, Digital Millennium Copyright Action,
Safe harbor
notice. They'll take it down. But that's exactly right. So even you get close enough to the name, they'll say that's a copyright violation.
And they're expanding that under TPP. Which doesn't exist. It's fake news. Right. Yep. Or no, Hillary said she's against it, even though she gave speeches saying she helped write it.
TPP expands the copyright cartel.
All right, I want to take some phone calls. It's amazing. We have Max Kaiser at maxkaiser.com. Who should we go to? James, Steve, Brian, David, Hector, and a lot of folks here. Let's go to Hawaii first. And so let's talk to Steven. You're on the air. Thanks for calling.
Hi, Alex.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, man, I'm a huge fan. I even have your Bohemian Grove video from back in the 80s. I've been following you for years. I want to say that I appreciate what you do, and I ask you guys to keep it up. I got 3 things I want to mention for you real quick. About the mainstream media, it's not just the news that's being fake and pushing messages right now. What people aren't paying attention to is it's also the regular television shows. For instance, just yesterday, Supernatural, a television show where, you know, there's a couple of guys go around, they're fighting evil, fighting demons, things like that. They have to exorcise Lucifer out of the president of the United States. Does that sound like anything?
Well, I mean, listen, half the time I stop on some new cartoon, it's guys in tricorder hats trying to blow up the chemical plant and poison the public, and then Green Lantern has to beat them. Exactly. I would say 20% of the propaganda is now in news, mainstream news. But yes, Adam and Max, what about the propaganda placement? They call it behavior placement or product placement, is all over the place. And look, I'm not against any gay people. I don't even care. The point is, it's just everywhere. Gay, 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 gay. We know it's a push message, or it's anti-family, or it's anti-gun, or it's anti-America, or the terrorist is, bad because he believes that there's a world government. I mean, it's just crazy, the message. And I think the public's rejecting it. But what's your comments on that?
Well, we actually talked about this in a way the other day. And if you look at what Norman Lear did, and he still has a big influence, I think it's the Lear Foundation or something, and they write storylines for Hollywood, and they're very open about it. They put storylines into Modern Family, and it can be about global warming or other social issues. But really, back in the days, we had Archie Bunker, and Archie Bunker became this was a grouchy guy who hated the government, and traditionally those guys were Democrats. But Norman Lear made Archie Bunker a Republican. And for years, that became the face of what Republicans look like on television. And I think that's kind of where the switch went from, you know, the Republican Party who I freed the slaves, you know, they were kind of on the good side of things. And then Archie Bunker became the face of the a-hole Republican. I think that really set a
and you're right. In the 60s, there's all these hundreds of letters. Most of them are online from LBJ. He wrote a lot of them from the cattleman suite down at the Driscoll, you know, with his mistress there. He didn't really live with his wife out at the ranch, Ladybird, but little factoid. And he was writing letters saying, the Republicans passed the Civil Rights Act. We got to do something about this damn Eisenhower, all this other stuff. You know, we're got to get the N-words on welfare to control them, and they'll be voting Democrat for 100 years. I got a plan. And then here comes Archie Bunker a decade later to get people to flip, to think, no, the old racist curmudgeons, they're not Democrats, they're Republicans. And as you said, they've accredited it with one show. That's right. More than anything, with 30 million viewers, 40 million viewers every episode, they convinced everybody of a total upside-down world.
Yeah.
So why is it not working now when they say anybody that wants to own a gun is a racist or anybody that is against Obamacare is a racist?
Well, I think to a degree it is working. I mean, it's definitely... I think that, yeah, I can only say I think people do believe that. But there's a segment of the population that is more switched on, and that is because of alternative forms.
You know who was following leading up to this Trump election very closely on Twitter, which was fascinating, was Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert. But he started writing and tweeting about persuasion and persuasion technologies. And persuasion technology,
we've had him on.
It comes out of something called neuro-linguistic programming. And also comes out of the casino industry, which is very good at persuading people to part with their money using technology, using very advanced psychometrics, like filling casinos with certain scents that get people to, comfortable to losing their money, or they program machines and slot machines to win at the exact moment when somebody's about to give up and walk away from the slot machine. And remember, Trump is in the casino business. He comes out of the casino business. And he would be very familiar with that technology and how that works. And that whole idea of persuasion technology, getting people to, you talk about fake news. This would be fake empathy. You need to create fake empathy.
Sure, it's Pavlovian. In fact, speak of the devil. This just broke at INFOWARS.com. Merkel Phelan. This should go all over the web, folks. This is huge. I heard this other today, and I meant to cover it, but I just forgot I was so busy. But now they've had to retract. Fake news. Newsweek retracts claim Trump supporters booed John Glenn. I believe I was in total error that Trump supporters booed Glenn. So now they first put it out to hurt him, knowing everybody's sad about John Glenn, the first American into space, and all the rest of it dying at 94 or whatever yesterday. Godspeed, John Glenn. And then later they admit, okay, they didn't really do it. In fact, they were like, oh, John, oh, he died, not boo. Oh, we're sad, not boo. But this shows how desperate they are.
You know, when Bruce Springsteen appears anywhere, people in the audience still need to be explained that people are saying Bruce and not boo. So this is so typical.
Oh, it's a very it's an old tactic to just put out this false information. That is fake news by saying that they
and they're the masters of it. I mean, take the head of the Mr. Sun, the head of the SoftBank, one of the biggest Japanese banks, trillions, as you know. He comes and says, "I like your new plan. $50 billion invested in high tech next year." He walks off the elevator, gives Trump credit, and then even the Wall Street Journal, he thinks more friendly, says Trump kept claiming credit. Just everything is twisted. It's not that I'm even that. It's like it makes you like Trump because they're lying about him so much. Even if there's stuff Trump does, I don't like.
Well, the thing that is just obviously, happening is exactly the same type of attitude that a lot of people harbored towards President Obama is now being harbored and expressed by the very same people who thought that was disgusting.
Yes.
And we have a phrase in the Netherlands, which is, wat je zegt ben jezelf met de kop door de helft, which means you are what you accuse someone else of.
I thought that meant, why are you putting mayonnaise on my French fries?
Well, that was a problem, too.
Let's talk to James in Arizona. You're on the air with quite a trio, I've got to say. Yours truly, Alex Jones, Max Kaiser, and, of course, we have the former top MTV star and so many other things you've done since then. You got your own powerful, successful radio show right now. Adam Curry joining us here in studio. Let's go to James in Arizona. You're on the air.
Hey, Alex, I've been watching you for a while. Found out about you during your rant with Pierce Morgan on gun control. Love that.
That was a big moment for us. We got millions of new listeners off that.
Oh, yeah, I can definitely tell.
And it wasn't because he had a big audience. He got picked up and was so big. That
It was a great appearance.
It chased Pierce out of the country.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I apologize, caller. Go ahead, James.
No, it's all right. As a millennial, I've actually been taking a look at this all fake news paradigm. And I think the propaganda may have actually worked a little too well regarding Hillary Clinton, because they were trying to, as liberals would do when I was in high school, is that they would try to propagate communism and socialism. And since they did that to such a degree, you have the complete and total socialists, then you have the people who are the counterculture, the free market, and you only have those two paradigms now. So,
oh, I agree.
Like
it's become very avant-garde and cutting edge to buck the system, because it's so clear the entire power structure, Republican leadership, Democratic leadership, the Pope, the Communist Chinese, the Saudis, everyone's saying we can't make America great again. What do you guys make of that?
I lived in a lot of countries, and this is the best one. And I won't give up on the idea that we can make it work.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's easy to bash America until you've been to other countries.
I lived in the Netherlands. I lived in Belgium. I lived in the UK. The UK, by the way, I enjoyed my time there. You want some racists? It's the most racist people I've ever met in the UK. And they do it with a smile.
That's true.
With a smile.
Absolutely.
With a smile.
Understated.
We get a lot of grief in the United States, for, especially around the world. You guys invented slavery and all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, okay, well, maybe you should take a look at your own country.
Well, that's the thing, though. You go to third world countries and places, it's the upper crust people who hate everybody beneath them even more, and they're the same color as them. They're like, yeah, don't you hate these people? And they're like, all right, Adam Curry's our guest. We have Max Kaiser here, a couple trailblazers with us. We're going back to your phone calls. We're going to do about 15 minutes next hour. We have a Millie Weaver special report. It's very informative. And then Leanne McAdoo and others are going to be coming in here and taking over the last 45 minutes of the fourth hour of broadcast, where we like to bring in our other hosts and people. It's always interesting and informative. Before I go any further, I want to thank the sponsors that have made this broadcast possible. You can find those up on INFOWARS.com. Also, we've got 25% off on DNA Force that's running right now. And we've got a lot of other specials on the side. And look, I don't want to sit here and belabor this. These are really great things that everybody needs, that everybody can use. And I just want to thank you all for your support. Quite frankly, we'll put up stuff that I don't think's that important, and it'll get millions of views, 5,000 comments. But then, oh, look, Reddit's banning us. And it's kind of like, yeah, who cares? Or, oh, look, Facebook's blocking us. Oh, look, the EU named us and said, shut us down. Oh, Hillary gave a speech yesterday and said Congress needs to pass laws. It's already passed the House to literally do stuff 50 times worse than McCarthy. I mean, I cannot, it's the best of times, worst of times. And sure, it's fun to get attacked by all these people. They're so discredited that it just mainly turns people on to you. But they're still the unstable people I'm running into that literally see me and go to the other side of the street now and look at me like I am a murdering demon because of all the weird stuff they edit together. And the things they do, like NPR a few days ago was like, Jones says Hillary chops up children herself and murders them. Washington Post. Go to the article. Jones says Hillary's responsible for killing children by funding rebels in Syria that actually rape and murder and chop up children. I mean, it's a new level of deception. It's very, very serious. And so let me ask you this question before we go back to calls. And these are kind of some short segments here towards the end and start of the hour, so I apologize for that. Is it the danger that we get so used to knowing we're right about a lot of these things that we laugh at the enemy but don't realize they're still in central control, and then they just move forward and start a new war or cause an economic collapse or whatever the case may be?
Well, I would say I have high hopes for our new president, so maybe some of that will go away. But Alex, you're no different than Russia and Putin. You are just another enemy. An enemy is needed. And it's you. I'm really happy it's you, because I know you're a good guy. I'm not worried about it. But they need an enemy. And I think that's what's taking place here. And that's all they got. So they go for the biggest guy. And we'll use you over and over again. But I think you're right. When you did the Piers Morgan show, you got a lot of extra listeners and people glom on and
we had
figure it out.
We had like 10 million terrestrial listeners a week, maybe 1.5 million visitors to the site. It was a good show. It was like 3-4 times that by the time the election hit, and now it's double at least what it was for the election. It's scary. I think that's why they're attacking. It's because they say if we can practice on this guy and target and figure out what works on him, then we'll work on everybody else. I think that's what's happening.
That's possible.
I think it's just targeting.
But they would be foolish to take you down. Then what? Max Kaiser? He's no opponent.
Well,
let's stop saying I'm big. Max has probably a bigger show than I do.
Yeah, no doubt. Does the New York Times ever contact me to comment about?
No, that's because you clearly cross over liberal and conservative, and clearly are right on so many. You're an authentic liberal. You're an authentic liberal, so they're scared to take you on. They're in the ignore you phase.
Well, I mean, I have a big show on RT. Have been 1,000 episodes, and it's seen all over the world. Not a single media outlet in America has contacted me to comment on this influence, so-called, of RT.
Yeah, the Russians run everything. Let's not call the big American.
Yeah. I mean, why not, if you're really curious about what's going on there, call me. But they never have. It shows that they've never done any research. They just got the piece of paper from up top that said criticize Russia and Putin, and don't do any other investigation into it.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't tell people then that Putin told you to say hi to me.
Well,
let's not give them any cannon fodder.
Maybe I was just trying to,
I'm sure it's all lies. Back in 70 seconds with your phone calls, I promise. I hate the fact that most of the ads are at the end and start of the hour, but that's just how radio works. NoAgendaShow.com with Adam Curry, producer, announcer, internet entrepreneur, and media personality, known for his work as VJ, MTV, and one of the first celebrities personalities to create and administer websites. That's right, a true trailblazer like Max Kaiser. We're taking your phone calls right now. Hector in Texas. Hector, thanks for holding her on the air.
All right, gentlemen, it's an honor. Thank you for helping to spread the education and awareness that we all need.
Thank you, brother.
My initial topic was based on the fact that I was unaware they repealed illegal propaganda. And aside from that, I still think there's ways we the people need to stop just listening. We've got to act. I know there's millions of listeners. There's got to be a few lawyers. There's got to be a few prosecutors. We've got to get on the board and have like a national lawsuit against.
By the way, lawsuits were being prepared against the Washington Post for saying sites were Russian agents, because you can that is defamation.
They had to disclaim it,
and so they had to back off yesterday.
Yeah,
so the good news is what you're saying is true. We're not looking for trouble. I was actually talking to lawyers about a suit because I'm not a Russian agent. You can't say that. You can say I'm fake news all day. So you're absolutely right. They are pushing that.
If anyone's pushing propaganda between Russia and America, it's me pushing propaganda into Russia. I mean, since I've been doing my show, the Kremlin has been aggressively buying gold, exactly as I've been propagandizing them to do. They've gone soft on Bitcoin, exactly as I've been propagandizing them.
They're becoming more pro-gun. It's like, I've been told it's become like the Alex Jones, Max Kaiser show over there.
Essentially, you could make the case that Putin is my puppet. More easily than
that's a bumper sticker.
Then you could say the other way.
I want that.
Okay,
Putin is my puppet.
Hey,
you can make that case a lot easier than you can at the other side.
No, I agree. They ought to be glad that you're a rock star in Russia, because you tune in and they're getting Americana.
Well, it's a global.
So you were approached by the.
Beside the Trump election, I think you were also instrumental in Brexit in that you totally energized Nigel Farage to go global. People in the UK listen to your show. They were exposed to Nigel Farage through INFOWAR.
I don't want to toot my horn, but he says that on my show.
Not through the BBC. The BBC never had Nigel Farage on. Maybe a few times. Toward the end there, but for the past
I was having him on 15 years ago.
Exactly. You built his career.
He said when he'd knock on doors, nobody knew what UKIP was. They kept going, oh, Alex Jones, they're right in.
That's right. So
but it wasn't that I was that good. The media control left a vacuum, so Brits had to get their show from me.
Absolutely.
Plus, they love Paul Watson.
Paul Watson is huge, but Nigel Farage, I think, also aside from this Trump phenomenon, is also tied directly to.
You know what? It's fun to drink a bottle of red wine with him.
With Trump?
Farage?
Farage.
Oh.
Yeah,
he's
an
he
ordinary guy,
likes
right?
his drink.
Oh, yeah.
He likes his drink, yeah.
He's a regular bloke.
We'll put the two of us together. It's just... it's like when a mouse in the cartoon falls in the keg.
Okay. Please invite me, though, when that happens. I wouldn't mind.
I'm teetotaling right now, so, yeah. Well, Nigel Farage comes... It's like, I'm not a pot smoker, but if Willie Nelson's there, you got to smoke it.
He can call me. I like the holy herb.
You seem to know everybody. I bet you've hung out with Willie Nelson.
No. Met him once, but not hung out with him. He is a lot of people.
I've been getting a nice buzz from smoking Stacy's belly button lint. It's been giving me a really nice high lately.
I apologize for that last call. We're going to have to come back and take a few more calls. This is a short segment, long segment coming up. But seriously, though, seriously, it is exciting to see that labels mean nothing now. They call us right wing or left wing. It means nothing.
Because labels have been overused. It's been overused. Look, what's happening with... People are getting over-socialized. And I'm a true believer in this paper called Industrial Society and Its Future. And it talks about, and this was written in the 80s, and it talks about how technology is really not healthy for most things in modern society.
You did this trick on my show.
And written by a Harvard professor, Theodore Kaczynski. And when you read this document, it starts off with...
Hold on. Tell us about the document when we come back. That's called planting the hook. Anyways, we'll be right back. Not I ever even do that. The clock doesn't. We got something interesting here. We got to come back. No, I want to hear this. And it's called... What's the name?
Industrial Society and Its Future.
Industrial Society and Its Future. All right, we've got Adam Curry, Max Kaiser here with us. I'm Alex Jones, Infowars.com. They're trying to censor it. Please spread the link. Historically, when governments move against free press, major wars and absolute horrors are committed against the people. As we speak, the European Union is openly calling to shut down the, quote, alt-right in the United States and is ordering Facebook, Google, and others to censor Infowars.com by name. If Infowars can be silenced, you can be silenced as well. Let's stand up for a free press. Let's stand up for free speech, not just here in the U.S., but worldwide. That's what our Bill of Rights and Constitution are all about. That's why it's called the First Amendment. First, because it is the most important. If we shut down free speech, the light goes out of the world. There you go. Extinguishing the light of communication. I tell you, first they want the Second Amendment. I told you they're coming out with the First, and now they're doing it. Briefly,
on nipples.
Here's a question. I got to plug some sponsors and ask you both. What happens in the future when there's a blacklist, though? I guess you'll be afraid, or others would, to have me on, or if you're on a blacklist, I can't have you on, because then I'll get on a blacklist, so then there'll be nom de plumes. But if the pen name or pseudonym writes something, it'll be the information. So I guess the pseudonym will then get on a blacklist. You have to keep creating new pseudonyms.
Yeah.
It's institutionalized psychosis, multiple personality disorder as a feature. And you need to fractally go within yourself to come up with as many persona as possible and live a parallel existence. I think that's pretty obvious.
Solved.
Just like what you're saying, you know, you look at the micro and you look at the macro, but the truth is to actually see the macro, you've got to look at the micro, because then that's actually something giant just from far away.
Yeah, the enemy of these new sensors is time. And what I mean by that is the example I give all the time, you know, when the plane went down the Hudson, they were tweeting live from the wing of the plane, we're here and we're safe, and before any news crew could show up. So any blacklist that comes up is going to be shot down before it gets any traction. And you have real information warriors out there, not, you know, only yourself, but people like 4chan who came up with Pepe,
they're the people digging up all the goodies.
Pepe the Frog and things like that, who really understand the meme war and the information war in a very meta level. They're the enemy that Hillary Clinton just discovered the information war in just the last 2 months of her campaign. She didn't know who the campaign was all about.
Oh, no, I hear NPR. They go, what is this info war?
Right. They're completely clueless about what's been going on for years now. And so they're just catching up to it. And meanwhile, the people who are orchestrating, and I thought, again, Scott Adams, I think, is really a genius guy who understands exactly what's going on. You had him on your show. And the whole idea of subliminal persuasion technologies and technology is really taking hold in a big way. And the casinofication of communications is.
And Scott Adams needs to be commended for taking a huge hit in his personal business by doing this, because he was very early on. He said, "I think Trump's going to win in a landslide."
That's right, and he didn't even endorse him.
Well, he said, "I'm voting for Hillary Clinton because I don't want to get killed in California." I'm paraphrasing. But there's no doubt that really hurt his, I'm sure he's fine, but it hurt his business.
Well, sure. What about how the modern left all day calls itself anti-bully? They're the biggest bullies I've ever seen.
Yes.
I mean, it's like, what is your, I mean, I don't think of myself as right wing's the thing. I look at them and I just call it, they're like fascists or something.
Yeah, nobody's a bigger bully than a left winger scorned. I mean, they come out and they start to throw their weight around in a way that's completely beyond what you'd expect these right wing to do.
I want to jam in a few final calls that are killing me, but promise me that you'll come back
anytime,
Mr. Curry. And of course,
I'm homeless, so I live here now.
I think you're actually talking about maybe orbiting through for a while.
Yeah, Max and Stacey will stay at my place for a while.
Well, there's plenty of room here in the warehouse.
All right, let me get serious. Revelations. Revelation.
We sleep near the iodine room.
Revelation. The dawn of global government movie.
There's more iodine in the warehouse than underground.
This is a real sponsor. This is a film. We got to put everything in.
What? Is it film? Let me do the promo. You do all the promos.
All right, go ahead.
Here we go.
Let's see. Let's do this promo. Revelations, Dawn of Global Government movie. This new film, directed by Chuck Untersee, stars General Jerry Boykin, Charlie Daniels, G. Edward Griffin, Joel Skousen, and myself, Max, and Alex Jones. You want to read the rest?
No, keep going.
It covers a range of topics such as privacy, Agenda 21, the Federal Reserve, nationalism versus globalism, and much, much more. Visit revelationthemovie.info to purchase the DVD or check into hosting it at a theater near you.
Revelationthemovie.info.
Oh, cool.
This is so good. Here's another one. Here,
that's another one.
I want to sell some seeds.
What do we got?
Oh, this is solar generator.
Oh, this is better. Solutions from Science. People.
Live
Solutions
plug.
from Science has a new solar generator.
It's
that
a live
is
plug.
Pocket size.
It's different than the butt plug. That's a different product.
Now this one is pocket size. Is this really true? A solar generator pocket size? This is crazy. It can run it can run 110 appliances, 110 volt appliances in your house. Small refrigerators. Really? I've heard this thing. Privatepowergrid.com. I actually heard this on your show the other day, and the website was down.
Really?
You said you said privatepowergrid.com.
You're not reading the ad copy. How are they going to
hold on a second. It's mobile. Listen to this. It's mobile. You can jumpstart cars, trucks, buses, 18-wheelers. Huge tractors. You can jumpstart an airplane.
You can jumpstart a tractor from something in your
airplane.
Pocket?
You
can hook up to the pump's genitals.
It provides an endless supply of electricity, and of course, that's from the sun. So go to privatepowergrid.com. That's privatepowergrid.com. You can buy one right now, and if you use the coupon code Alex at checkout, you'll get a second one free.
They got to pay double.
Two for the price of one. Privatepowergrid.com.
And this is such an old way to pitch stuff. It's like new. This is like 1950s way to sell stuff.
Do you have them here? I want one.
It's drop shipped. No, this is a sponsor.
All right,
we do sell some solar stuff at InfoWarsStore.com, and we need to sell a lot of stuff to fund this place.
I have a friend with an airplane, and I'm going to ask him, I want to jumpstart his plane with that.
It's not just solar power. It's also gonad friction. If you keep it in your pocket, the friction between the two testicles bouncing into each other, they cause enough energy.
You have meddled with the tidal forces of nature, Mr. Kaiser, and you will atone. You just haven't broken up some business deal here. The arrows are taking the money out of the country, and now they must put it back in.
Keep it going. I love this.
You sit up there on your little 15-inch screen, and you tell us all about America and nations and peoples. There are no more nations. There are no more people.
Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Beal.
We are an international, multivariate system of stock and companies. I'm not going to go to the whole round.
That's a great bit. That's one of my favorites.
Absolutely. But one testicle does hang lower than the other.
If you're Lance Armstrong.
The clatter. You don't want the testicles clack.
Stop it!
Like that.
Family show.
Everyone has gonads of the male persuasion. There's nobody in a family. It's made by males and females coming together, and the male has testicles, and gonad friction powers the device in your pocket along with the solar energy. You can jumpstart an airplane. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all it is about.
That's a satire. That's comedy. It's not fake news. Let me tell you, they take jokes out of now and they go, Jones believes goblins are with Trump, literally. And they say it was real. And he believes wasps are under the UN building. Like, we make jokes, and they take it and say it's real.
No, you actually, it's real. That's my favorite.
You know where else? You know where else satire was outlawed? The Soviet Union. Hello, America's becoming like the Soviet Union, and
thank you.
And Russia's becoming more like America.
All right, I'm going to go to
America. Let me finish this thought. Russia and America are two ships passing in the night, where the U.S. is going towards Sovietization, and the Russia's coming out and busting out and becoming like America in the 1950s. You know, Putin is basically Ike. He's Eisenhower for the globe. He's the global Eisenhower, and Hillary was basically Stalin. Now we've got Trump. We'll see what happens.
I'll come visit you in jail for sure, in federal prison. No problem.
Hey, Adam Curry, thank you.
Alex, thank you.
I want to thank you for coming by. I apologize to the callers. Leanne, hold on. She probably want to get to you. I apologize to the callers. Here is a Millie Weaver report on the great new EPA head. The EPA has nothing to do with really the environment, folks. They're dumping toxic waste in water. It's about shutting down American industry. This guy knows that it's all a big fraud. Very exciting. Here is that report. And Leanne McAdoo, and I believe she's going to have Margaret Howell, granddaughter of Thurston Howell III.
Oh, actually, really?
That's satire. Thurston Howell III's not real. We know that.
You're the skipper. Careful. You're the professor, and I'm Gilligan.
Yeah. All right. Now here's a question you got to ask all guys. Are you a Mary Ann or a Ginger type of guy?
I used to be Ginger, and then when I grew up, I definitely went to Mary Ann.
I agree. Well, the wrong answer. You're both.
No, well, you know, you're the king, so of course you get it all.
No, I'm just joking.
And what am I left
I'm
with?
a family guy. Watch yourself, Kaiser.
And I'm left with a coconut? Is that what it is?
Exactly. You're left with Gilligan.
Oh, okay.
I think Hillary definitely went for Marianne.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Ginger.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. In the new paradigm, we just get to go do all the work and everything and get the coconuts and the bananas and, battle the weird headhunters. Like, remember, Conan, the headhunters are always attacking?
Yeah.
Why can't we have shows like that that are so stupid you can actually relax and watch them?
She definitely liked the coconut zippers.
Hey, did you like the I Dream of Jeannie's Genie?
Oh, my God.
You're wondering what the astronaut, what's going on?
Barbara Eden, right?
Yeah, you know what's going on, Sometimes he visits her in the bottle.
Yeah. What about the way the bewitched woman twitched her nose? That, actually, I don't want to go down that path.
Let's not do that.
Yeah, I'm actually don't want to.
All right, so this is what happens. Great job, everybody. We love you. Good things are happening. We love you. Nightly News Tonight, 7 o'clock Central Leanne's coming up. Here is our great reporter in the Midwest, Millie Weaver. What an amazing lady. This is her best report. This is her best report so far.
Millie Weaver reporting for INFOWARS.com. I'm here in Phoenix, Arizona, where just this last weekend, the Freedom Force International Group held a conference here on the subject matter of climate change and the inconvenient lie that's being perpetuated by the mainstream media and other people, such as Al Gore, that man is responsible for climate change and that we need to all hurry up and take action in this. Well, Donald Trump just met with Al Gore, and we have all these mainstream media leftist outlets touting that Donald Trump is going to veer from his campaign pledges and keep some of these regulations on the basis of man-made climate change.
The bulk of the time was with President-elect Donald Trump. I found it an extremely interesting conversation and to be continued. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Thank you.
Well, I have information that counters that. I just met with a man this weekend named Timothy Ball that spoke at this conference, who is scheduled to meet with Donald Trump's EPA pick. This is very important because this man has evidence that counters the beliefs and opinions of Al Gore. So let's go ahead and hear what he has to say. You're scheduled to meet with Trump's advisors soon, isn't that correct?
Yeah, well, one of the things that about 25 years ago, I appeared before Congress on the climate issue, and I was also invited to speak at a place called the Competitive Enterprise Institute. I met Myron Ebell, and then at the Heartland or climate conferences around, I met him several times. It's about a month before the election date, he was notified by the Trump people that he was going to be put in charge of deregulating EPA. So was invited to go and meet with Myron in Washington on the 12th of December, and we'll lay out the issues. He knows a lot of it, but one of the things I think I can contribute is providing him with ways of explaining to the politicians and to the public the complexities. When you burn ethanol, which of course is plant produced, and the government was telling people, when you burn ethanol, there's less CO2 produced than from fossil fuels. It's not true. It's simply not true. When you burn ethanol, you get far more CO2 produced, okay? But what they did was they said, growing the plants takes CO2 out of the atmosphere, so we're giving them a net figure. But with the actual car going down the road, the ethanol car is putting out far more CO2 than the fossil fuel car. And of course, the government shifted the subsidies to corn producers, that they got far more money if they produced the corn and it went to the ethanol plant than if it went to the food plant. That led to a massive increase in basic food costs around the world. And I'll show you how that links. When corn is basic and the price went up, all of the other basic food supplies went up. That led to food riots in Egypt. Okay? Obama said, no, that's Arab Spring. That's democracy. No, it wasn't. There was the food riots.
Wow.
But Obama, of course, said, we've got to get rid of Hosni Mubarak, because he wanted to put the Muslim Brotherhood in. So he exploited a situation that his own policies in the corn market had created. But this is the kinds of clever and devious games that they use.
What are some of the health or environmental effects that these supposed green energy projects can do?
Well, the alternate energies, of course, are in terms of the bird kills, the bat kills, the environmental damage, the noise that they produce, the footprint. In order to replace a 1,000 megawatt coal station, you need acres and acres of land, because the turbines have got to be spread out because they interfere with each other. If you go by a wind turbine field, there's always one turbine turning. That's being driven by electricity off the grid, because you need that energy to get the other wind turbines started, okay? Plus, once you're using wind power as a source of energy into the grid, you can only use about 12% of your total energy production from wind or solar, because if it disappears, the system will draw on the grid, and so the grid has to be able to pick up that power demand instantly. So what people don't know is when the wind turbines are turning, the coal plant is also running. So again, this goes back to this problem of doing proper cost-benefit analysis, and that is just missing in every phase of this whole environmental scam. And that needs to be looked at. And particularly if it's a project like a wind project, the government don't want to hear about the problems with it. They suppress all of that. But there are so many side effects. One of the things that's concerned me for a long time is noise pollution in our atmosphere. Like I have artificial ears because flying without proper hearing protection, but the noise issue and its ability to excite the cells and trigger all sorts of reactions, it's obvious that there's a problem. The biggest climate events that affect humans and animals are floods and droughts. And droughts in particular, and in the U.S. here, virtually no research done on that, and yet those are huge issues. Water resources, the quality of water. I mean, you saw the Flint, Michigan situation. That's criminal in today's world. But the water issue, it to me is another one that simply has not received attention because of the focus on the global warming issue.
Are you going to advise for him to kind of defund some of these different green energy projects?
You withdraw the funding, the whole thing dies. If there was anything in it, and there was some money to be made in it, then private industry would step in and fill that need right away. But the fact they haven't proves that there is nothing. Trump is not going to ignore regulations. I mean, he's actually said it. He said, we can't get rid of the EPA completely. We do need to look after our planet. We do need to deal with pollution and so on. But there are so many other issues that are complete non-issues that if we took that money and spend it where it's needed, we could be far more effective. And of course, that's the whole idea about a business person is how do I spend my dollars most effectively? And so that's what I'm hoping to be able to do is say, look, you don't need to spend money here. CO2 is not a problem. And therefore, the money you're spending there, which is about $70 billion a year, can go to some other, for example, clean water supply in every city in America, in every community in America. And this is the problem, that real issues have been pushed aside by these phony issues. I mean, they talk about fake news. This is fake science, but for a political agenda.
The concerns that these media outlets are perpetuating that Donald is going to veer from his campaign pledges are simply inaccurate, and it's just to try and make Donald look bad in any way possible. Just more fake news from the mainstream media. This is Millie Weaver signing off for INFOWARS.com.
Welcome back. I'm joined in studio by Leanne McAdoo. Here we are, 4th hour live. It's our first time doing this, by the way, together. It's awesome. We brought you a stack of information. We're going to get through this one by one. Hopefully you guys are retweeting us. We actually some effort today. We posted a photograph of this in hopes that we get retweeted. So be sure and retweet us. What do you think of this?
I think it's amazing. I love Millie out there on the streets. Everybody loves Millie Weaver, so make sure you retweet her report as well. But we've got a lot of news coming up for you. Reddit, of course, is the latest social media outlet out there to shadow ban INFOWARs, calling us fake news and other things. So the war on free speech has accelerated. We're going to get into that.
We knew that Steve Hoffman was actually anti-Trump. He took the audacity of this man. Steve Hoffman is the owner and CEO of Reddit. Not owner, just CEO. And he was very anti-Trump from the beginning, monitoring streams. We're seeing a war. It's a censorship war in this country like no other. And we're going to take on the real fake news here. Actually,
at least the fascists are revealing themselves.
That's right. What do you make of this Michael Moore piece? This he's predicting Trump will quit before the inauguration because he's bummed out by the amount of work. Get real, dude. You know, I love chubby guys. I have a chubby guy thing. This guy, though, sloppy idiocy to a new level.
Well, he does a documentary like what, once every few years or something. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is a very successful businessman, however many businesses and they're kind of picking at him because he wants to continue being the executive producer of his television show while also being president. So yeah, I'm sure it's just going to be too much work for Donald Trump.
Right.
Sure.
Well, he's telling this to Seth Meyers, who's sort of the court gesture of Obama's presidency. That Trump, he just thinks that, you know, it's too much work. He's not going to be. We're talking about a man who I don't think he sleeps.
Okay, he was doing like 6 or 7 campaign stops a day. Meanwhile, Hillary Clinton, that was something that really affected her campaign, was because she was nowhere to be found after she had that meteoric rise after the DNC. Then she was sleeping in bed. Meanwhile, he's doing 7. Too much work for him, though.
Do you remember Dana Bash asking him about his work ethic? You know, the man had gone through, he stopped to open up a hotel, and she was basically like, how dare you take time out of campaigning? Do you really think that's responsible? What is this saying about you?
This is more fake news that you cannot believe.
He doesn't stop. Speaking of Trump, you know, Trump Tower, we covered this yesterday, Leanne. I love it.
Well, we'll be right back, so stick around.
Welcome back. We love this. We're going to take some calls now. We've got Brian, who's been holding for quite some time from Iowa. Brian, you're on the air with us. What's going on?
Hi. I just wanted to call and tell you guys, I got a couple points, but first one I wanted to say thank you for all the amazing work you guys do at INFOWARs.
Thank you.
I know.
You're part of the INFOWAR, so thank you.
Thank you. And I wanted to tell Alex, I think one of the most important things that he talks about is his belief in God and Jesus Christ. I have not always been the most faithful Christian and had temporarily questioned my faith at different points in my life by listening to fake science. And I wanted to tell your listeners that in the last several months, I've felt God's presence and love, and there is no doubt that God is real and he loves all of us. I think that if we want to beat the evil we are up against, we as a people need to find our way back to God and Jesus Christ. You don't need a church necessarily to be close with God. You can speak to him at any time through prayer.
Absolutely.
On a final note, go ahead.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is a spiritual battle, and it's kind of one of the big lies is that you need a church to go inside. God's right there. Last points, Brian.
Speak directly to God through prayer. And on a final note, I think that Donald Trump has been so successful because he is the American dream personified and is the true champion of the American people. The way he campaigned using his own money allowed him to showcase his success while at the same time emphasizing his self-sacrifice to serve the country he loves. So I'd like to say thank you to President-elect Trump for your sacrifices and your family's sacrifices to go through this trial by fire for the American people.
Yeah, I'm with you, Brian. Let's go to Jeff. Thank you so much for calling. Jeff has been holding for quite some time. Jeff, you're on the air with Leanne and myself. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Good job, ladies. Great field work you did. I'd like to talk about crisis, and like Rahm Emanuel said, you can never let the crisis go to waste. The mainstream media is in a crisis right now because they're not controlling the narrative.
Right.
And since we're talking about climate and weather and everything, we really can't have a conversation about that unless we talk about geoengineering, which is happening. Nobody wants to talk about it. I wish it wasn't happening. I live in Southern California here, and it's mind blowing what we see every day here. And so I think that now that we're controlling the narrative, INFOWARs and the real media, the fake news, right? That we should talk about these fake chemtrails that really don't exist, and the geoengineering, and really spotlight that issue. I think it's a great time to do that. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
well, yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I think one of the most powerful ways to do that is by using their own language against them, and by going and showing people the bills that are passed through Congress, that these won't be used as weapons of war. That it is happening.
Not only that, Jeff, your first point about Rahm Emanuel, I was so disappointed. You know, Trump's been entertaining a lot of people in Trump Tower. Rahm Emanuel, of course, went to talk about immigration. And look, I felt like, his policy, he was basically bullying Trump in the media, saying, we're a sanctuary city, we're not going to honor you. I didn't really like the fact that Trump had entertained him to listen to his immigration stance. Do you find that as concerning as I do? Just back to your first point.
There's a lot of things that I question, but I trust. I just have a level of trust of what he's doing. I think that he's smart. I'm not sure what his game plan is with him meeting with people that are very questionable. Clearly, the opposition. From their records. So I don't know what exactly what he's doing, but I just have a level of trust in what he's doing. But I think that we need to help him, because everybody knows that that Donald he's not tech savvy. He doesn't get a lot of his information from the internet. He's grown up reading the paper and watching the news, and so I think that it's important that the rest of us get behind him and educate him, however we can do that. But I think we just need to watch and see what he's doing. But I agree with you. Yeah, it's very disturbing to see him, meeting with certain individuals that, clearly
raise the red flags for all of us. Jeff, thank you so much. And it's true. We do see him meeting with people, Kissinger. And you're thinking, well, what the heck? But he's been a businessman. He's been around these people for quite some time. He kind of knows what he's dealing with there in the swamp. But I think it speaks volumes that he has Steve Bannon there.
I do too.
And that right there lets you know that he's got someone who's in a top position.
I love that caller's point to stand behind him, and that's exactly what we're doing. The past 8 weeks, we have been hammering Clinton, and now that Trump's in office, we all want to see him make good on these promises. It's a little disconcerting when you've got people like Rahm Emanuel, who is arguably the godfather of Chicago, making his case for immigration. But we're going to stand behind him.
Crime has accelerated under him.
We're going to take one more caller. John from Texas, you've been holding a while. Hi, John. You're on with Leanne and myself. How are you?
I'm great, actually.
What did you want to talk about? Banker, globalist, elite takeover?
Yes, I'm a banker. I graduated Texas State and started working in the banking industry in 2007 before the crash, and have seen what a lot of these elitists and bankers have done to really just manipulate and completely control the system. And people just don't really realize what's going on. They don't realize that in the early 90s, the top 5 or 6 banks in the world, in the United States, controlled only roughly 10% of the assets, which nowadays it's 15 trillion. Now they control about 50% of the world's assets, which is just crazy. That just shows in such a short time how far they've come and how far they're going to go, because nobody's stopping them. Nobody's standing up. They have all these blacklists. Why don't we have a Patriot list where we only do business with conservatives with similar ideals and values? Why don't we counter what they're doing by hitting them where it hurts in their pockets?
Right, exactly. Just for instance, with all of the advertisers who are trying to blacklist Breitbart. And so people are pushing back saying, you know what, if you're not going to advertise on Breitbart, then screw you. We're not going to buy your products, and we're going to vote with our dollars. And we need to all get behind and support Breitbart in this effort.
That really chapped me. That BMW story where they're going to yank their advertisements from Breitbart News, one of the most popular news sites globally. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. They're going to shoot themselves in the foot to avoid.
Meanwhile, it's totally fine. Mike Cernovich was actually posting this on his Twitter. You'll see all these advertisements for Grubhub and others on salon.com with the pedophile article, where it's basically making the case, I'm a pedophile, not a monster. And then you see all these advertisements. HP, are you okay that you're advertising next to an article advocating pedophilia? I mean,
they want to normalize it, John. And I love your point about how, we should take a stand and we should actually honor patriots in business. But at the same time, if you believe in liberty, you want to do business with everyone. Politics should not be a part of business, frankly.
Right. And that's why they make the mistake, is when they do try to politicize. Yeah. It's like, just make the Frosted Flakes and, leave me alone.
Stay out of it. Exactly.
Politics.
John, thank you so much. All right. Well, Leanne, I wanted to talk about this with you, and hopefully we get it. I know you've got something. I'll let you go. We're going to get to this Russian hacker story and how this order of an intelligence report that's being led by Republicans, by the way. If you can believe this is still going on, but you brought us something about ISIS.
Well, no, they're really pushing, and I want everyone out there to just understand the huge psyop that is happening still and will continue on happening. They're really trying to ramp up this effort that this election is illegitimate. The Russians helped Donald Trump by creating all this fake news and pushing out this propaganda. The Electoral College got him in. He didn't win the popular vote. And of course, that's what Michael Moore was really pushing last on Seth Meyers, is that, he didn't really actually win because he didn't win the popular vote. And so they're really trying to make people feel as though this is an illegitimate election. And
well, look, get this.
Insane.
So, New York Times, obviously fake news, but I had to pull this. I visit their site anyway. I can't help myself. We're reporters. We check out the news.
Gotta look at it all.
Obama orders intelligence report on Russian election hacking. They're still not letting this go, folks. And then the very first line, Obama has ordered American intelligence agencies to produce a full report on Russian efforts to influence the 2016 presidential election. So he's tying up DHS with this type stuff to investigate the Russians, because those bad old Russians, they're the reason Donald Trump's in office. And Max Kaiser was just here, who's an RT.
And you.
RT
oh my God, hold on.
I was a former RT reporter.
Yes,
and I can tell you right now, that content is really uncensored. They basically let us say whatever we want to say, which is, it shouldn't be news if you're listening to it.
No red phone ringing from the Kremlin?
There isn't one at all. And they're not going to let this die. What do you think this says about their credibility? Or just desperation, maybe?
Well, and so there's a great article up on The Intercept where pointing out just one of the phrase fake news and how it is the people that are most aggressively disseminating that this fake news are the people that are pushing it. One thing he points out with the WikiLeaks is one of the biggest fake news pieces that came out that MSNBC and others really ran with was the fact that the WikiLeaks emails were doctored. We can't even look at them. We can't even open them. The Russians and hackers are altering the emails. Don't look into John Podesta's emails because they've been altered. And so the news, they just said, well, okay, they've been altered. Experts say, we're getting, officials tell us that these emails, WikiLeaks, have been doctored with no proof whatsoever. It would be so simple to take your computer and say, here's the email I sent, and then here's what's on WikiLeaks, obviously fabricated, but they didn't do that. They just pushed out this narrative that they've been altered, so don't even open them.
Well, they have to, make WikiLeaks illegitimate. They've got to bastardize it however they can so that we don't look at it. Do you remember Donna Brazile saying that she thought it was a crime? CNN was pushing this for a long time. They thought it was a crime to look at these emails.
Oh,
You're
only
a criminal
CNN.
if you look at WikiLeaks. Really? Okay. Yeah, I guess we're all criminals.
Yeah,
because I've been looking.
We are deplorable,
right?
So we are deplorables looking into investigative journalism, also known as conspiracy theorists. Speaking of something else that was some fake news we pumped out quite some time ago was the fact that arming and funding ISIS and other terrorist organizations. Well, that was, fake news or whatever. But of course, we forced that to come out. It is true. And now lawmakers, Tulsi Gabbard actually introduced this bill, the Democrat from Hawaii, Stop Arming Terrorists Act. So this is a bill introduced. It aims to protect U.S. taxpayers' dollars from being spent on supporting and arming international terrorist groups through covert operations in third states. So, here they're basically saying, look, there's this widely reported U.S. practice of indirectly sponsoring terrorism, and so they want to make it illegal for any U.S. government agency to assist extremist groups directly or indirectly, be it through the sale of weapons, field training, or intelligence assistance, because she and other lawmakers are saying, look, if you or I were providing them assistance or giving them intelligence, we'd be in prison.
Liam, they do this without shame. Do you remember John McCain going on the ground and saying, we need to arm these people, they're humanitarian fight? No, they weren't. You know, can you imagine if Syria did that to us? They found a crazy group of, I don't know, neo-Nazis, for example, somewhere and decided to arm them because it's their humanitarian right to do so?
Or even, you know, arming the people who want to overthrow President-elect Donald Trump. Right. I mean, there's a bunch of crazies out there that would be willing to take up arms and take Donald Trump out. I mean, so then you have this rogue government coming in and arming the moderate protesters.
The moderate.
It's madness.
It is madness. We're going to take a second now. You know, we do this because we love liberty so much, and we frankly love you. This is a labor of love over here. We couldn't do this without our great INFOWARS.com store. We're offering some really great specials and deals. I'll let you talk more about this. Leanne's got this fantastic way of talking about these products.
Well, I was actually just using our new ozonated olive oil on my hands. I actually need some more because, man, this weather is like super crepey skin. This is like the ultimate reptilian hand layer. So that's the ozonated olive oil skin cream. It's back in stock. We've been out of it for 6 months because it's sold out right away. It uses organic extra virgin olive oil. It's loaded with pure oxygen and ozone to help soothe and moisturize your skin. I love it. I use it on my hands, my lips. I put it up around my eyes so it helps those little eye wrinkles, keeps everything luscious and moist.
Not only this, and this is probably one of our favorite products here because we put in a lot of long hours, frankly. Final day for DNA Force for 25% off at InfoWarsLife.com. You don't want to miss that because we rarely do things like this, but it's happening now.
Tonight only.
It's tonight only. Also, the InfoWars Trump is My President shirt. Under $10. I don't have a single shirt in my closet that is under $10, except, you know what? This fantastic shirt. What a bargain. Love this. Also, let's talk a little bit about the Liberty Movement and how InfoWars were under attack. We do need your support to keep this up. And this is how we do it, folks. And these great specials. You mentioned the olive oil hand cream. I guess that's what I'm going to start calling it. I actually need to check that out myself when I get off the air here because of the Austin air.
Weather.
It is literally.
I hate having crepey skin.
It is eating my face off, frankly, as we speak. As we speak. I want to take you guys to this story now. And I love this story, frankly, because it talks about the insanity. You know what? This is a holiday season. We're in holiday time right now. And Guatemalans, they're burning an effigy to get rid of evil spirits. And hey, there's nothing wrong with trying to get rid of evil spirits, but they're burning the likeness of Donald Trump, trying to, it's called the Devil Festival, frankly. And I know we didn't talk about this prior, because this massive piñata of Donald Trump, you know what? I just, honestly, the spread of real fake news, this is what they're doing to cultures around the world. We have an obligation in our Liberty Movement to fight stuff like this.
Well, the leaders are saying, you know what? It was a joke. It was a party. Ha ha.
Oh, yeah.
That's to America.
That's to America.
Just kidding.
You know, I before we got on the air, I was trying to figure out how much our State Department has given Guatemala. I couldn't come up with a conclusive number, but they're burning an effigy of our future president.
With devil horns.
With devil horns.
Right.
That's nice of them, don't you think?
Yeah.
Here in the States, Trump also under attack, and forgive me, New York Times again. You know, I can't help myself here, Leanne. Campuses across America, those that are actually, how should I put this, in the right somewhat, who want their Trump-supporting students to have the right to say that they're Trump-supporting students. Apparently, they're creating safe spaces for Trump supporters because of all the hostility that's been expressed toward them. We cover these cases often. And specifically, we're going to get more into this.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like the snowflakes of the season. They're all around. And of course, the Trump supporters, they don't want these safe spaces, but frankly, they need them when you have these people coming out protesting conservative events. And
that's right. That's right. So you know what? We're going to get more into this in these little safe spaces when we come back after this break. Also, we're going to get into this Orange Coast College teacher calling Trump's victory an act of terror.
Oh, my. And of course, it's the student that's to blame for catching this all on film, not the teacher.
Right.
God, thank God I've graduated.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. We're your hosts, Leanne McAdoo and Margaret Howell, in studio talking about the latest breaking information. We're going to take you to the story about how this teacher is calling a Trump victory an act of terrorism. Literally, I cannot make this up. We're really going to be in a civil war, she says. And then she talks about coping with the election loss. I don't know about you, but these crybabies, they're really starting to freak me out. We saw this Obama supporter, this DNC contributor, and I think her name was Marjorie Clifton. She broke down and started crying on the air. And then Hillary Clinton goes to Harry Reid's party, going away party yesterday. We got the crying sisters over there too. Now we have a
greeted by a bunch of crying, adoring women.
What is going? I mean, the tears flowing out. You know what, though? The real culprit, the real criminal in the story is the little student who got it on tape.
Right.
Frankly.
And it's the student that is facing expulsion.
This is humiliating.
Oh, my God. It's like they're crying for their dear leader. It's like in North Korea when they demand that all the North Koreans cry for the dear leader. That's what that feels like to me. It's sick, totally sick.
You talk about a brainwashing, and I mean, I'd be crying in joy that Harry Reid is leaving, frankly.
Right. This would be a celebration.
It would be a celebratory tear, but hold it together, people. I mean,
it's not the end of the world. In fact, more people now are saying, you know what, I don't think Trump's that bad. He's already creating jobs. He's already making some deals. We're already winning. So let's give him a shot.
We're winning.
But the thing with the story you mentioned is that it's the student who's facing expulsion for capturing this teacher's rhetoric. I mean, imagine what's being taught in classrooms that's not getting caught on film. And, you know, the 2030 agenda that they want, everything is going to be filmed in the future. So she shouldn't be concerned about this type of thought.
Psychology professor Olga Perez-Stablecock, she's got a few last names going on there, labeled Donald Trump's victory an act of terrorism. And it seems to suggest that he is a white supremacist. So, you know what? I am so freaking sick and tired of hearing about how Donald Trump and Steve Bannon are white supremacists. It makes me... It doesn't make me angry anymore.
Especially from the establishment media.
Right.
It's so dangerous.
You got people on the Hill, Leanne, like this little Republican Lindsey Graham, and he's going to launch this wide-ranging probe into Russia. And I hate to harp on Russia, but you know what? We had Max Kaiser in today, and I'm jumping around a little bit here. But my point is, it's not just the Democrats. There are some really interesting Republicans on the other side.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's it. We're always pointing out it's two sides of the same coin.
Just as
they just want you to think it's the left-right divide.
Right. So, you know what? Propaganda piece for Kremlin? No, we're not. But I'm going to start calling out MSNBC as being a propaganda piece for, what should we call them? Globalist shills? I'm not
exactly.
Sure.
Shills for the globalist agenda. And that's why we have Joe Biden on his sort of farewell tour, and he hails was Justin Trudeau and Angela Merkel as the last liberal leaders standing. There's more and more challenges to the liberal international order. And he says, I've never seen Europe engaged in as much self-doubt. So they're doubting themselves by overthrowing these globalists, this liberal international order that has taken over. It's everyone else out there who's confused. All of these countries, all this pushback, it's everyone else who is confused about how they think that their life should go. We still don't know what's best for us. We still need these elites ruling over us because we're so stupid. It's not that people are pushing back against this globalist agenda, the attack on the family, Christianity, individualism.
What do you make of him saying that Angela Merkel is one of the last liberal leaders? What you talk about fake news right here?
God.
The woman's in a fight for her life, actually.
She won't be standing too long.
For us. You know what? We're quickly running out of time here. Check out these articles while you're at it. Be sure to tune into the INFOWARS Nightly News tonight at 7. Leanne McAdoo will be hosting, and I will be joining.
Jam-packed show for you.